This is Talk Sport with Sheriff Jim White and Deputy Natalie Sawyer.
Tomorrow morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Radio, keeping you up to date with all the latest information as events unfold.
We must go further in dealing with this virus.
Listen to Talk Radio for all the latest news, comment and advice.
Coming out with our economy intact is also about saving lives.
Essential information, first and fast.
Keep on following the government's advice.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Celebrating 20 years of Talk Sport.
Back of the net!
They said it wouldn't work.
What, you want to know what I want to say?
Sometimes it didn't.
Serious? You like illegal ads?
But somehow it did.
And wrongdoing by the US government.
On DAB, medium wave and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Tottenham against Leicester from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I'm your match commentator Toby Gillis, alongside me the former Tottenham defender Chris Perry. And quite simply today, there is no room for error. Simple as that for both these sides as the race for European football continues. For one, the visitors, just a second ever Champions League place is still on offer for the hosts with their superstar manager Jose Mourinho. Even the Europa League isn't yet guaranteed, and he insists he does want to win that again. Defeat, maybe even a draw, is unthinkable for both. And in fact, because of the late running of the derby between Bournemouth and Southampton, we are already underway. You've missed barely any action, 50 seconds. Leicester got us underway, played it up into the Tottenham right side, and then there was a foul on Lucas Moura, who took a little bit of time to recover from the barge over on the far side. So we are underway. It is still 0-0, and I'll quickly run you through the two sides, and they're quite easy to tell you about because both are unchanged from victories last time out. Tottenham beat Newcastle by 3-1. Leicester beat Sheffield United 2-0. Spurs on Wednesday, Leicester on Thursday. So Spurs have Hugo Lloris, the captain, in goal. The back four is Serge Aurier, Toby Alderweireld, Davinson Sanchez and Ben Davies. And in midfield it's Moussa Sissoko, Harry Winks and Giovanni Lo Celso, with Lucas Moura, Harry Kane and Son Heung-min up front. Spurs, by the way, are in the final third. There's a ball up by Winks to Harry Kane, who's offside. Free kick to Leicester in their right back position. They have Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Ryan Bennett, Wes Morgan and Johnny Evans the back three, James Justin, Wilfred Ndidi, Yuri Tielemans and the young winger Luke Thomas on the left-hand side, aged just 19, made his debut last time out against Sheffield United. And then it's Jose Perez, who scored his 50th English League goal against the Blades, Harvey Barnes, and then the Premier League Golden Boot leader, Jamie Vardy, in between the pair. As I mentioned, Chris Perry alongside me, 2.5 gone, still 0-0, and this is huge, Chris.
This is a massive game, isn't it? Yeah. Massive impact on the Europa League and the Champions League places. Leicester will be looking to pick up a victory here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium today that would lift them up into third place and almost guarantee a Champions League spot.
Son has given it to Lucas Moura over on the far side now. There's a ball in towards Kane by Lo Celso. He's overhit that one with his left foot, and it's through to Kasper Schmeichel, who's also making a landmark appearance today, his 200th Premier League appearance for the Foxes, the former title winner, of course, who has led them so astoundingly, really, in goal. Who'd have thought when he was born that he was going to go on to become a wonderful goalkeeper just like his dad. Great achievement for him as Leicester attack with Barnes down the left-hand side, up against Moussa Sissoko, just twists and turns back down the line, and a little nudge into him by Thomas, and Sissoko is judged to have fouled him, and Barnes wins the free kick for Leicester. And this is a chance, you'd think, to get a decent ball into the Tottenham 18-yard box. It's left side, about 10 yards in from the left-hand touchline, and probably about 20-25 yards from the byline.
It's a silly free kick to give away, really. Clumsy challenge. Really good opportunity to whip the ball in.
Tottenham, despite maybe some feeling that they're not quite hit their straps under Jose Mourinho, unbeaten in 4 since the defeat to Sheffield United that I commentated on here for Premier League Live. But that is actually their only defeat in 8 Premier League games. They'll hope that they can defend this one early doors. 4 on the clock. Tielemans to take this free kick. In it goes. Harry Kane up rather than out towards the far side. Nodded by Vardy back to Tielemans. There's his looped ball into the box. Far, far too close to Hugo Lloris, who was under no pressure. And in his mint goalkeeping jersey, I'm reliably informed that colour is. He clears away towards the Leicester right back position, up towards Sissoko, who's the highest man in white jersey, to try and get it, but James Justin just holds him off, and it's Leicester who have possession. Barnes up the left hand touchline, takes a little touch off of Serge Aurier, and over on the far side it goes. This game, Chris, has got quite an extraordinary history. The very first time they met, it was 5-5, and it's basically been absolutely mad ever since. This is the 100th time it's been played in the league, the 115th time the two have met overall. Of the 114 previously, 48 have had a minimum of 4 goals between them. I mean, repeatedly dotted through the history, there are stories of one or the other scoring 5 or 6. It really is one of the classic matches, perhaps an underrated fixture in the history of English football between Tottenham and Leicester, as Leicester deliver a ball out from the right hand side, well headed away by Spurs. Harry Kane picked it up midpoint of his own half, but that's a good ball spun outside of his right, but down the left hand side to Son, who's into the 18-yard box, tries the shot, takes a deflection off of Wes Morgan. I think it might have been Justin. There are a number of players in there, it may have even been more than one, but it's found its way, completely wrong footing, Kasper Schmeichel into the bottom of his net. It's Tottenham 1, it's Leicester 0, very, very early doors. We were almost certain that there would be goals in this game, but you might have just heard Chris Perry say to me that it was offside.
It's very tight. Whether it's offside, Heung-min Son looks to time his run, he's actually in his own half, and then Harry Kane just delays the ball a little bit, and it's going to be very tight between him and Ryan Bennett as to whether Heung-min Son is onside.
He was trying to stay in his own half, wasn't he, initially? It's James Justin it comes off of last. Totally wrong foots the keeper, but they may get a reprieve here, Leicester, and I don't think it'll be a difficult one for the video assistant today to spot. That's Stuart Atwell, assisted today by Scott Ledger. Harry Kane's looking up with some frustration that this might even be an issue.
Goal.
And it is a goal. Tottenham lead through the James Justin own goal. Pretty sure that's how it'll go.
Justin was unfortunate, wasn't he? Justin was unfortunate, but it's poor defending from Bennett, allowing Son back inside onto his right foot, opening the goal up. Son hit the ball looking for the far corner, and Justin, unfortunately, it just hit him and went in. Sent Kasper Schmeichel the wrong way, but Leicester holding a very high line, and Bennett and Morgan both lack pace.
Justin now with the ball forward, up towards Vardy, and he's got up there. It just dipped over Davinson Sanchez, and Vardy perhaps saw it a little bit late, and he's headed that one over the crossbar.
Yeah, it's a good ball from Justin on his left foot, middle of the penalty area, 10 yards out. Jamie Vardy rises above Davinson Sanchez and just tries to loop it into the far corner, but gets a little bit too much on it.
Leicester have just 2 wins in their last 7 Premier League games. That's since the restart. There are 10 teams who have a better record since lockdown. As a little ricochet falls to Jamie Vardy, but Davis gets back at him, and Alderweireld clears it away. Alderweireld, by the way, also today with a landmark appearance. He's 200th in all competitions for Tottenham. Aurier and Tielemans fighting for it over on the far side. I think Tielemans might have taken that out of play. Aurier merged with it anyway, but the referee has brought it back for the Tottenham throw. I mean, there's just some fixtures that sort of elicit goals, aren't there? It's extraordinary. I mean, I'm trying not to be a stato about this, but I've done the work, so I'm going to tell you. The last 6 between these two in the Premier League, 28 goals.
Yeah,
that's 4.7 a game. The last 6 at Spurs, 31 goals, that's 5.2 a game. For some reason, these two just bring the best out of each other's attacks, or maybe the worst out of each other's defences.
That's a foul by Johnny Evans. Silly free kick. Misunderstanding with young Luke Thomas. And he just blocked off Lucas Moura's run as he was looking to take advantage there, Lucas Moura.
Yeah, free kick. Inside right position for Spurs, inside the Leicester half. Already we've had Steve H get in touch with us on our Twitter account, @TalkSportLive. You can do the same. Who says Leicester are trying to pull off their second great escape in 5 years. And that will be referring, of course, to when they survived relegation in the last weeks of the season, the year before they won the title. But he says this time escaping from the Champions League. Well, it's not going well for them today. They play Manchester United on the final day. Son delivers it in. There's an awkward header for Alderweireld, high into the arms of Kasper Schmeichel. I suppose the good news in a way for Leicester is that no matter what, they still could get in the Champions League on the final day, whatever happens.
It's in
today.
their hands, isn't it? It is in their hands, but Manchester United in very, very good form at the moment.
They've got a better goal difference than Manchester United. They'd have to lose today by 3 for United to usurp them into 4th without even playing. And of course they do play their penultimate game of the season in midweek, Manchester United, before they play Leicester, so they'll be a little bit fresher, Leicester. The Spurs attack again with Lo Celso. Lo Celso tries the ball in between Bennett and Morgan, and he just gets it too close to Bennett, who clears away to Justin.
I don't know about you, so I'm just not convinced by this 3 at the back that Leicester play. Johnny Evans, certainly with Wes Morgan and Ryan Bennett in there as 2 of the 3.
Yeah,
it looks poor.
That to me was, if you're playing Morgan, you've basically got to have a 3 now, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. He needs pace around him. I'm not sure Bennett's particularly quick, or Johnny Evans.
No, you're probably right, but certainly he needs something. It's just a 3rd start of the season. Worth pointing out they've won both the games he started this season, the Leicester captain, as Vardy leaves it for Barnes. Barnes in the centre, that's a good ball to the left-hand side. Here comes Thomas, low ball into the box, away from the edge of the 18-yard box, and picked up by Moura over on the far side. Johnny Evans gets in to make the stop.
Yeah, I think the problem that Leicester are going to have is Spurs are playing an out-and-out 4-3-3, so you're going to have Lucas Moura running down the vast expanses of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium down the right-hand side against Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
And that's a mismatch, and Son against Bennett on the other side is a complete mismatch. If Spurs play this correctly, they're going to get 1v1s with those two all afternoon.
Well, from a neutral's point of view, we like goals, so you never know, or at least goal-scoring chances. They go long up towards Son, easily dealt with by Justin. Actually at times, Justin is sort of making it, Justin and Thomas really are making it a 5, and they're going to have a torrid old afternoon running up and down that wing, aren't they, if they're there to provide support both going forward and defensively.
It's the hardest position to play, I think, wing-back. The physical demands are massive.
Is Evans to the left for Tielemans. You do look at the Leicester defence and you think really over probably this summer they're going to have to do some recruitment, aren't they, when you consider the ages. What's interesting about the Bennett situation, by the way, he's on loan from Wolves. I'll just tell you more about this in a moment because they're on the attack here. Ayoze Perez, that one's going to flick its way up to Vardy. He couldn't turn it into the 18-yard box for Barnes. And Didi wins it back in midfield. Here's Justin to Tielemans. Now out to the left for Thomas. Gets it back from Barnes. That's a nice 1-2. Took Aurier out of the game. What's the cross like? Perez to Vardy. And it's blocked by Alderweireld. Might come for Justin. Remember, score of the own goal. We think it'll be an own goal. But his shot was blocked. Now Son has it, and again he loses out to Ndidi, and it's back with Bennett. Well, Bennett, the situation with him, we believe, and it's not been officially confirmed, but certainly strong reports, that once he reached 5 games in the Premier League for Leicester, they would have to pay £5 million to sign him automatically from Wolves. Now today is his 5th appearance in the Premier League for Leicester, so perhaps he is the one that Brendan Rodgers has decided will strengthen them at the back. But you look at Morgan, 36. You look at Evans, 32.
They've just given Morgan a new contract, haven't they, as well?
Yeah, but I mean, it's. I wonder if it's almost sort of ceremonial now. Yeah. As Son goes down, little challenge on him from behind, and that's a free kick in the middle of the field for Tottenham. 14 gone. Tottenham 1, Leicester 0 here on Premier League Live. Chris Perry and Toby Gillis bringing you 90-minute commentary of this one before Manchester United play Chelsea. That's a battle of two titans, isn't it? In the FA Cup semi-final for the right to play Arsenal. It has, I think, gone down as a Son goal, you know.
I think it was on target.
One.
Yeah. It took a huge deflection, though, didn't it? Certainly went nowhere near where Son was trying to put it into the net.
I mean, having said that, it would have been a difficult save for Schmeichel, I think, as Kane tries to find Son again. They're clearly trying to pick out that gap between the two centre-halves, Bennett and Morgan, and they've won it high up here again with Lo Celso, and Kane goes in with Evans, and the referee says, I think he might have tried to play an advantage before that moment, so Tottenham have the free kick for a foul on Kane initially by Ndidi.
Yeah, Kane tried to stay on his feet, didn't he, and carry on going. Johnny Evans came in with a challenge. Referee pulled it back for the initial foul by Ndidi. But Leicester holding a very high line when Spurs win it back. And that's where Spurs are looking to get in down the sides with Mora and Son with their pace.
Manchester United's penultimate game in the league, by the way, is against West Ham on Wednesday. So they're going to have considerably less preparation time than Leicester, who will have a week exactly, in fact, because that is also a 4 o'clock UK time kickoff next Sunday. I'll tell you what, it was some pass by Kane, wasn't it, for Son for the goal?
He does that so well, dropping in deep and playing other people in, doesn't he?
And he'd got up as well.
I'm not sure it was on target.
No, I'm not, actually.
I think it might have bent and been on target, but certainly when you see it, it's very difficult to be able to tell how much it was going to bend.
Kane, incidentally, for all that he probably gets an assist for that one, has got a quite extraordinary goal-scoring record against Leicester. 14 goals in 13 appearances against Leicester, and 12 in 9 in the Premier League. As Jose Perez attacks for Leicester, he's all alone, 4 white shirts around him, gets a bit of fortune as it comes off of Davinson Sanchez, and then Alderweireld is there to smack into safety. Rosed Perez was going, well, I didn't have any support, so what else could I do? He's done well to even win his team a throw there, I'd say.
Yeah, Perez was quick onto the wayward pass from Aurier. Goes outside onto his left foot. The shot lacked power. It actually good block by Sanchez, but it cannons back onto his arm, but it was accidental.
Evans, ball forward to Thomas. Barnes. They're being forced back towards halfway. Tottenham showing far more than I've seen in the 2 games I've commentated on them recently, which was Sheffield United, the defeat, and the draw against Bournemouth. And I mean, it's fair to say on the back of those 2 performances, I was very critical of Jose Mourinho, and to be fair, so was Kev Watson, who was commentating alongside me for both. But he talked about how he's really seeing this job at the moment as very similar to the one that he had when he arrived at Porto. More on that in a moment, because Thomas is down the left-hand side, about level with the penalty spot. There's the ball in. Perez has the jump on Davies and just forces it to drop to Justin. That one's going to come off of Son. Can Davies prevent the corner? He does really, really well there, and that's a throw-in right down by the corner flag, but it could have been worse. 17.5 gone, Tottenham 1, Leicester 0.
I think what we're seeing of this Spurs side under Jose Mourinho is we've seen it almost looks like he's used the break to work very much defensively, and that's in place now, and they look better defensively. They look a little bit more solid, and now we're starting to see what he wants attacking wise.
I mean, he says we know we're doing a very positive job, he says, and then in comparing it to Porto, he says when I arrived at Porto in January 2002, that half of the season, he says, was very hard as Barnes delivers it in towards Vardy. That one's going to come off of Davinson Sanchez last, I think, and go behind for a corner. But Jose says it was really important that half a year for the preparation for the next season. And he says, that's what I'm doing now, accumulating knowledge and experience of the club to prepare for what is to come. So
of the players as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair, yeah. Leicester to take this corner from over on the far side. It's the Leicester left in their blue jerseys, white shorts, blue socks. And it'll be Tielemans to take drilled ball towards the back post. Son read it, nods it behind. Under no real pressure. Second corner to Leicester, this time on the near side there, right.
Yeah, good defending, wasn't it, from Heung-min Son. Tracked the run of James Justin round the back post. Was very aware that they might be looking at that big area of space, but defended it well.
Even in spite of the headlines he's had over the last 18 months or so, I still think Son's underrated.
He's a very, very
fabulous
good player.
Yeah. Does everything and never moans about his
Only
his
once.
role.
Only once. That Everton game.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Tielemans' delivery. There's a good header that by Morgan. Vardy tried the back heel, and that comes off of the goalkeeper, bounces off of a Spurs defender, and ricochets behind for the corner. Leicester piling it on after going behind.
Moussa Sissoko is marking Wes Morgan. He doesn't look at the ball, and Wes Morgan sees the ball all the way, heads it towards goal. It hits Jamie Vardy. He backheels it towards goal. Fortunately for Spurs, it just hits Hugo Lloris. Cannons back off the defender, Ben Davies in front of the goal, and goes behind for another corner.
Over on the far side, Tottenham struggling to get the ball away. Third corner in quick succession for Leicester. There's the delivery. Skips off of the head of the man at the nearest edge of the 6-yard box, Mora, and runs to the far side. Morgan just shepherding it towards the halfway line. Tried a trick that I didn't know he had in him. It worked because it found Ndidi. Now's Justin. What's the ball in like by Barnes? It's too close to the goalkeeper. Oh, Lloris has spilled it, and it needed Winks to be there. It was poor from him. Winks hooks it over his head and it's out on the far side. He's actually done really well to chase his own clearance there, and Spurs now have it with Lo Celso, but I think, it was a good challenge by Thomas. It bounced back onto Lo Celso and nods back off of his head behind for the throw in over on the far side for Leicester. But I don't know what Hugo Lloris was doing.
I think he was caught in two minds, wasn't he? I think he initially wanted to catch it and just pat it down, then he realised actually he's probably going behind for a goal kick, I'll leave it, and got caught in between two stools and ended up doing nothing. And very fortunate that Harry Winks was so alive.
Free kick given away by Lo Celso on halfway, but a heavy touch by Barnes allows Aurier to slide in. Not back to Luke Thomas. Talk about pressure on a 19-year-old kid, England under-19 international. He's the third youngest Leicester player ever to play in the Premier League, by the way, after a certain Emil Heskey, and one that perhaps only the most hardcore of Premier League fans would remember, Stuart Campbell.
I do remember Stuart Campbell, midfield player.
You're one of the few. I had to look him up.
I think it was only because he was around my era. I probably played against him. So
Tottenham 1, Leicester 0. We reach the drinks break, and Spurs have offered nothing really other than the goal, and Leicester, you might argue, have been the more positive of the two sides. Certainly had the lion's share of possession, and very nearly equalised through that Vardy back heel, who is attempting to become the oldest ever Premier League Golden Boot winner, by the way.
He's got every chance, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he'll have been pleased to see a Southampton Danny Ings penalty saved earlier, because Ings got one. He started 3 ahead of Ings today.
Aubameyang's his biggest threat.
Aubameyang, the two of them starting 3 behind, but Aubameyang now with the extra game. Ings scored 1, could have had another, but his penalty was saved in a game that ended, by the way, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 2. And that means that Bournemouth will be dropping out of the Premier League if they don't beat Everton on the final day, and maybe even prior to that, depending on what Watford do against Manchester City on Tuesday. Although I think the most realistic amongst us suspect that City will win that game. Never know.
I think there'll be a reaction from City as well.
Aurier with a delivery into the box that's far too close to Kasper Schmeichel. Rolls out low to Ndidi. Although Watford with a bit of a surprise move today to sack their coach Nigel Pearson, the one that's got them back into contention. after arriving with the team 9 points off of safety.
It's an amazing decision, isn't it? Something must have happened behind the scenes. That's all you can think.
Yeah. I mean, if you read between the lines, that some are suggesting perhaps he's been told that he's not going to have the job next season, whichever league they're in, and has there maybe just been, even unconsciously, a little drop off in his level?
I think he's done a fantastic job, absolutely brilliant job to be 9 points adrift and them to be where they are at the moment.
Yeah, they beat Man United to prevent themselves being, 9 points adrift at the end of that match day, as it were. Amazing start, and done well since, as Perez takes the ball down. Wonderful save, diving down to his left-hand side by Hugo Lloris. He looked dodgy a few minutes ago, but this cross from the left-hand side by Thomas found its way into the area for Perez, who took it brilliantly on the top of his chest, brought it down, left foot shot. He was off celebrating, until Lloris, with a really firm left hand, pushes it wide for the corner. Brilliant.
Magnificent save from Hugo Lloris. What a ball from young Luke Thomas, though. What a pass that was. And Perez did everything right.
Here comes the corner again. Come on, shouts Brendan Rodgers, but it's away by Davinson Sanchez. Son gets it onto Winks. He's tackled. Here comes Barnes. Might open up for him. Aurier's in the way. Lucas Moura comes away with it. Challenged by Morgan. Looked like he was pulled back there for a second. He's done brilliantly, and he's found the ball to the right-hand side for Sissoko. His crossing is poor. James Justin, didn't really matter for him where he cleared that to. It's ended up behind for the corner. Probably had more time than he realised, but it's just worth clearing it to safety. Brilliant work by Lucas Moura, though.
It's easy to see that how Spurs are set up today. They are set up very much to play on the counter-attack, use the pace and the power of Moussa Sissoko to drive them forward, use Son's pace, use Lucas Moura's pace as well, and they look a real threat when they do counter.
So the corner will be taken over on the far side, the Tottenham right. Nearly 26 on the clock. Spurs 1, Leicester 0. Alderweireld is one of those that's come forward. Kane lurking inside the 6-yard box. Davinson Sanchez at the near post. It's in towards Kane. It's just over the England captain. And a comfortable claim by Kasper Schmeichel. I was trying to think earlier on today of a father-son combo that played the same position where look, Peter was probably the greatest in the world, so Kasper was always going to have a lot to live up to. But
done well, though,
in terms of sort of the heights that two have reached, there can't be many in world football history.
I wouldn't have thought so, no. Certainly can't think of one off the top of my head, no.
Amazing. I mean, both winning the Premier League, and Kasper's story, in many ways, you might argue, is actually better than Peter's because of that, because of what happened with the Leicester champions. I interviewed Kasper Schmeichel when he was 16 on loan at Darlington, a little club in the northeast, and you wouldn't have believed that he was going to turn into the sort of man mountain that he was, both literally and figuratively. He was so shy, and I know he was 16, but you sort of think that the way that his father was, he'd probably have had a bit more about him as a 16-year-old, and he came in, he did okay for them, on loan in League 2, bottom professional division in England. To go on and win the Premier League, you'd never have believed it. Indeed, Ita Tielemans tries the ball through. That's going to take a little ricochet off of the Spurs defender Aurier, and high into the gloves of his own goalkeeper. No back pass by any means. He was really on the stretch for that. And Lloris out to Aurier, who, I just wonder whether there are many players, almost in world football, that could benefit more from playing under Jose Mourinho than Aurier, because he's got all the tools, but we all sort of think he's a bit mad, don't we? And defensively, he's been far better since Jose arrived, and we know that that's a real strength of the Portuguese.
I think probably because he's been asked to play a little bit deeper, maybe not get forward as much as he was before Jose Mourinho arrived, and that's probably helped him defensively, that he's actually in the right position a lot of the time now.
Yeah, he'll learn so much, I think, from Jose Mourinho, the Tottenham defender. He's played every game under Jose Mourinho since he arrived. 8 assists this season as well, and that's another ball by him there up to Lo Celso. He'll slip in Kane right side of the area, tried the snap shot, always going to struggle to get that through Bennett. and it bounces out towards the far side, and Kane retrieves into Lo Celso. Kane gives it, Lo Celso I should say, loops it up to Aurier, who nodded it back to Sissoko, then gets back in position. That's what we're talking about there. No thought of, I'm just going to stay forward or stay out of position here. He moves straight out to the right hand side, and perhaps in the past where we might have thought, well, Spurs possibly need a better right back, maybe Jose will just go, I've got one for the time being. There might be other areas where he needs to strengthen with whatever money the usually frugal Tottenham are prepared to give him in the summer.
Yeah, well, they've got Kyle Walker-Peters on loan at Southampton as well, and there's...
Well, he's not convinced that he wants to come back, Walker-Peters.
I'm sure. Well, he wants to play football, and I'm not sure it looks like Spurs really want him. I think there's talk of swap deals, isn't there, with Højbjerg potentially coming in.
Ball forward by Wings. That's a good one up towards Son. If he can hit it first time, he might just find the top corner, and it was a great effort, but Schmeichel was equal to it. Brilliant save by Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah, it's a diagonal run from left to right from Heung-min Son. He times it beautifully. James Justin doesn't go with him. Sits up beautifully to hit the ball from Harry Winks on the volley with his right foot on the edge of the penalty area for Heung-min Son. Kind of centre of the goal. He fires it brilliantly on target, and acrobatic save with his left hand from Kasper Schmeichel.
Super save. That's one apiece from the goalkeepers. You can see why this fixture has got a history, can't you? Blimey.
Poor defending, really, though. Really poor defending. One straight ball should never beat you.
There's the cross by Lo Celso. Oh, it might have come off of Ndidi towards Son, and Son couldn't turn it in at the back post. It might have been behind before he got the contact, there. He's given a corner.
I think they're looking for the flick on at the near post by Sanchez. It was over Sanchez's head, but indeed he did the job for Spurs because the ball was that good. I think the ball was just about out before Son got there.
Yeah, it's a great spot by the ref, actually, we should say. Anthony Taylor. Son will take this corner from the near side. Right footed. Here's the delivery towards the near post. Doesn't beat the first man. It's Barnes. Son gets it back from Winks. Alderweireld is just making a move into the box. Winks goes over to the far side instead to Mora, who heads it into the 6-yard box. Schmeichel is alert to get there ahead of Davinson Sanchez, and he will throw it out to the right hand side. And here is Bennett. Bennett's ball up towards Vardy. Hasn't had a chance to run in behind the Tottenham defence today.
I don't think he'll get one either. I think Spurs are very wary of the fact that they know Jamie Vardy's pace in behind is going to cause any team problems, so they're defending a little bit deeper.
And I've no doubt that was the thinking behind Davinson Sanchez at the back today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit more mobile than some of the other defenders, certainly Jan Vertonghen, who's available.
Juan Foyt, by the way, is back on the substitutes bench today. He's been struggling seriously with an injury. He's had all sorts of troubles all season, in fact. Ankles, groins. Hasn't played since December the 28th.
I think they see him as a right back.
Yes, I think
he plays there for Argentina, and certainly the last couple of games he played for Argentina were at right back, and he apparently did really well.
Yeah, but goodness me, if you look at Argentina's defence, I'm not totally convinced it's one to hang your hat on.
I think he's one who can play probably a little bit of right back in a back four, but he's definitely suited to a back three on the right side of a back three.
Yeah. I mean, when you consider that Argentina have at times started Leo Balerdi, who's Borussia Dortmund can't get anywhere near their first team. It's just a kid, really. There's an offside flag up against Harry Kane. Of course, Nicolas Otamendi is a first choice for Argentina as well.
That says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there'll be some Watford fans hoping he starts again for Manchester City in Tuesday's game. I'm sure I see that myself. Is Wes Morgan at the back for Leicester. 1-0 down.
I don't know which is worse, him or Stones, though, at the moment. So it could be Stones.
I mean, in the game I did against Bournemouth, they both started, and Bournemouth were. It was Pep's 150th Premier League game in charge at Manchester City, and I've rarely seen them win a game, I should say, less deservedly, as Harvey Barnes makes his way into the Spurs box, brilliantly defended by Davinson Sanchez, so composed there, and the clearance, Morgan gets there first, but Kane briefly took it off him until Lo Celso slides it back into the middle of the field, straight at James Justin. Here's Ndidi to the left Looking for Thomas, just let it run in front of him. Couldn't quite bring his foot up high enough to prevent the throw. And Spurs will take the opportunity to launch this away, you feel?
Yeah, I think Leicester are almost playing into Spurs' hands by dominating possession and territorially having a lot of possession in Tottenham's half, because that's exactly what Spurs want. They want to expose Wes Morgan and Ryan Bennett high up the pitch.
Jose Mourinho's never lost in 6 managerial meetings with Brendan Rodgers, a former protege of his actually. He brought Rodgers into Chelsea.
Yep.
As a youth team coach all the way back 16 years or so ago now. So they know each other well, as Morgan defends well with Lo Celso chasing towards this near side. I think he wants a free kick. He's never going to get it.
He may be losing his pace, Wes Morgan, but not his strength.
No. I mean, he's been an incredible servant for the team, hasn't he? And real leadership he showed during the Premier League winning season. I interviewed him towards the end of it, and he spoke so well. You can see why he's been the inspiring figure for Leicester for all these years after his £1 million move all that time ago from Nottingham Forest. What a bargain.
Absolutely.
Alderweireld goes across to his centre-back partner Sanchez, who worked it up to Aurier. You heard his little scream there as he was challenged by Harvey Barnes, and a foul challenge, says Anthony Taylor.
It was a good tussle, wasn't it? Barnes and just outstrengthed Aurier, really. Both of them were trying to outstrength each other.
Here's Davies from the free kick over to this near side. Now it's worked up to Sissoko forward to Kane. Kane's little spin towards Lo Celso won't come off. Leicester have it back. Harvey Barnes, 4 white shirts around him, so he has to come back to Thomas to Morgan. Talk about 2 players at the opposite ends of their careers. Justin, ball down the right hand side looking for Perez. He did well to hook it round Winks, but nobody in the 18-yard box. He had to chase his own ball, but easy for Alderweireld to clear. Leicester come back though. Here's Evans. Barnes inside left. Back to Evans, and first time out to Thomas. What's the ball in like? Decent, but Alderweireld is up there first. Taken on the thigh by Lo Celso. He runs straight into Ndidi though. Evans to Barnes. Thomas always available on the outlet on the left. There's the cross in towards Vardy. He gets a flick head onto it, but Justin's going to come to the near side. It maybe came off a Tottenham player last, actually. It does. Justin shepherds it behind. Corner to the Foxes.
Yeah, some sustained pressure from Leicester. Couple of crosses coming in from young Luke Thomas. What a beautiful left foot he has got. He can strike it in with his laces. He can bend it in with his instep. They're always into really good areas.
Tielemans to take this corner for Leicester. Here comes the delivery. Awful. Doesn't beat the first man, Lucas Moura. His header clear will find only Thomas, but he's given it away, and suddenly Tottenham on the counter, and it's 4 against 2 if they can get this right. Lucas Moura holds it up. Kane's onside. He absolutely loves playing against Leicester. 13 goals in 10 Premier League games against them now. Left foot, bottom corner, Tottenham 2, Leicester 0.
It's a brilliant counter-attack. This is going to be another tight one for offside. Brendan Rodgers is looking at a screen, praying that it is offside. But this all comes from a really poor delivery from Youri Tielemans at one end of the pitch. And Spurs just break out, and they've got numbers going forward. Lo Celso picks the right pass to Lucas Moura. He waits for Harry Kane to make the run. It's very, very tight. It's a beautiful finish from Harry Kane. First time with his left foot past the outstretched left leg of Kasper Schmeichel. It's a brilliant finish. It really is, and a superb goal. It's just going to be whether he's onside or not.
It really is a tight one, isn't it? If it counts, it's goal 202 of his English football career. He's well on. He's well onside. Played on
beautifully timed pass.
Harvey Barnes. Not even worth another look. Tottenham 2, Leicester 0.
2 goals, taking advantage of Leicester's lack of pace at the back.
He is some player, isn't he, Harry Kane?
I mean, he's just getting back to full fit. He's still not fully fit as well.
It's sort of boring to say it, isn't it? Because what else can you say about him? But only one better striker, proper 9 in the world for me at the moment. And, Harry Kane.
Who's that?
Robert Lewandowski.
Ooh, it'd be close.
I think
it's close between the two of them.
He's just had his best ever season.
I'm not sure Lewandowski would score the amount of Premier League goals that Harry Kane has.
Currently the top scorer in he was the top scorer in the Bundesliga and the German Cup, and still, as things stand, in the Champions League.
No, he's a fantastic player. You know, I follow the Bundesliga very closely, and Lewandowski is a fantastic player. I think Bayern create more chances for Lewandowski than Kane gets.
Yeah, that's probably fair. But then Lewandowski is scoring a lot more goals.
Oh, absolutely,
than Kane.
yeah.
So,
Kane, if he plays, he's in again here. They're in again, Spurs.
Yeah. Oh, it was a heavy touch, but it's come back off of Evans onto him. Leicester do get it back.
This is absolutely crazy defending from Leicester. The high line that they're holding with their lack of pace.
James Justin on the right-hand side moves infield to Tielemans. Perez makes a little dart towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Won't come for him. Tielemans gets it back from Justin instead. Now they use Bennett, and here's a Ndidi slap bang in the centre of the field, just ahead of the centre circle. Oh, and dear, and that's Thomas caught in possession again. He's had a bit of a tough time last few minutes. It's 3-on-3. Mora moving it up towards Kane, left side of the 18-yard box. Bennett closes him down. Harry Kane onto his right foot, decides to shoot.
Wow.
Absolutely fabulous goal from Harry Kane. Bennett didn't get tight enough, showed him onto his right foot for some bizarre reason, and he's cut inside, bent it right the way around everybody, including the outstretched arms of Kasper Schmeichel, and just inside the far corner. Tottenham 3, Leicester 0. They are running away with it, and Leicester's Champions League dreams are hanging by a thread.
This is awful defending from Ryan Bennett. Once again, he has got Harry Kane wide on the right-hand side. Just show him onto his left foot, show him down the line. He allows him back inside to open the goal up, but that takes nothing away from the finish from Harry Kane. He had nothing to aim at. He bent it outside the post and curled it back inside the post. It is absolute precision finish from Harry Kane. Full of confidence, but Ryan Bennett, if they can not pay $5 million for him, I would not pay it.
Pay him the $5 million to take him back. Yeah, really bizarre.
Two goals. Son allowed on his right foot. Harry Kane allowed back on his right foot. It's criminal defending.
Tielemans. There's a little foul in there by Sissoko. Tottenham 3-0 up. And really, it's basically 4 chances, 3 goals as Leicester get a ball into the box. That's poor by Sanchez, and it bounced onto Perez and back through to Lloris, and Sanchez puts his hand onto Hugo Lloris and thanks him for bailing him out there.
I mean, I think if we were to look at possession stats, I think Spurs would be way down on possession.
Yeah,
but they won't mind about that at all.
I mean, what an extraordinary way to defend.
63-37 possession it is in Leicester's favour.
Yeah, here comes Davies again, easy down the left, loads of space into Son. It was just behind him. It's a poor pass by Ben Davies, and here's Morgan picking it up, gives it to Thomas. I just wonder how long Thomas's afternoon is going to last. He gave the ball away for Kane's second, didn't he, when the counter happened, and then in the build-up there as well for the third. Difficult at this stage of your career, isn't it? And it's worth pointing out, by the way, that if Spurs got another, Man United would move into the top 4 as Perez goes for goal and forces a decent save from 25 yards by Hugo Lloris. He probably made it look more difficult than it was, but it's a corner to Leicester. But if this game finishes with a 4-goal gap to Spurs, then Leicester will be out of the top 4 before Man United play West Ham in midweek.
Yep, that's a real danger at the moment. Although they have looked a threat at times, Leicester, when they've attacked.
Is the delivery into the box, up rather than away really by Alderweireld, but picking up in the edge of the 18-yard box is Lo Celso, clears up towards halfway, and it'll be brought down by James Justin. Just to point out that prior to this game, and I suppose even right now if you include what we've seen so far, Leicester were 14 points clear of 5th as recently as January the 31st. That 14-point gap has been whittled away in just 12 matches. That's the sort of levels we're talking about. And it's also worth saying that they are without a win away from home in 7 games. What a way to let it all slip as Perez delivers the ball into the box. Good dive away by Sanchez, but Aurier was nudged, I think, by Barnes as they made their way into the box, and it's a free kick to Tottenham anyway. Wouldn't have counted if he had got onto it. But that away run as well, Chris, when you look at the teams they've played, Arsenal's the only one you'd go, right, they've got, it's a difficult one for them, really, truly difficult. The rest, Bournemouth, Everton, Watford, Norwich, Wolves, I suppose, and Burnley. They had to win some of those at least.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, certainly there's a lot of fixtures there that you feel they should have won. And on paper, I think they're a decent side. I'm not sure the way they're set up at the moment really suits them. I think they're much better when teams attack them. And I think they find it difficult to break teams down when they sit back a little bit without the guile of James Maddison.
We've got somebody asking you a question directly, Chris.
Yep.
He says, which footballers has your summariser been watching? Aurier's been bumping forward as much under Jose, if not more, and it's Sissoko that's doing the defensive work and tracking back many times. He says it's really strange analysis from you. How do you please?
I don't think so. Have you seen Aurier over the halfway line in this game?
I think just once. Yeah.
He hasn't been as much because Spurs aren't playing the same game. They're not having the same amount of possession. They're very much sat back now in a deeper block defensively, which means Aurier is playing a lot deeper and he can't get forward as much.
There you go, Wene. It's a game of opinions, and that's why we love it. As Justin delivers a ball in, again it's above Aurier, who's in the 18-yard box. Came out as far as Ndidi, tried a shot, bit of an air kick. 3 minutes on the clock of stoppage time, as Morgan then is fouled by Lo Celso, who's frustrated because I think he thought the ball was there to win. It might have been. Had he done so, Kane would have been straight down through the middle on for a hat-trick. He's already scored 2 hat-tricks against Leicester in his past. I think he'll probably fancy a third in the second half if the Foxes continue to defend this way. Barnes attacking down the left. Good pace up against Aurier there. Just looked like he might have opened up a gap to get across it. Instead he's checked and turned it back down the line for Thomas. There's Ndidi giving it to Tielemans. Now Evans and Thomas. And Leicester will feel a bit hard done by in some ways because they have had chances themselves but unable to take. In fact, Hugo Lloris in very good form, at least in terms of his shot stopping. And the 3 errors at the back really have allowed Spurs to score 3 goals.
What's happened here? Anthony Taylor's coming over and having a word with Davinson Sanchez. He's got blood on his shirt, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Not allowed to continue.
Either that or he's had a jam donut.
I love a jam donut. And it would not be rare to see me with jam donut down my shirt like that, but I suspect he probably hasn't. It's not been quite that easy for Spurs defensively, has it? And they've got a spare shirt for him, and he's quickly allowed to swap it and get himself back on and have to sprint into position. Sissoko for the time being has taken it, and now Sanchez is back there. Sissoko can move into midfield, and Leicester didn't even try and make use of that brief gap. Mourinho doing it for his 2 former clubs, Chelsea and Manchester United, says Edem Rains, listening in from Accra, Ghana at TalkSport Live. Yeah, he certainly is here today. I mean, Man United could end up there by default if Leicester keep defending like this. Morgan, you've got to back them now, haven't you? I mean, I know it's a blockbuster final day either way, but if Man United beat West Ham by enough on the Sanchez goes in, just about beats Vardy to that. If they really did West Ham, then they could find themselves in a position where they could lose to Leicester final day and still end up in the Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'll beat West Ham. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, they'd take 1-0 now, but it's one of those where they might start and think, let's hit them for 5 or 6. Such is the attacking form that Manchester United are in at the moment.
The front 3 are irresistible with Fernandes and Pogba behind them as well.
Well, this game is threatening to become the 49th in 115 games between these two sides that has 4 goals at least. Frequently we've seen one absolutely hammer the other, and at the break it's Tottenham that are hammering Leicester. The opener from Son via a massive deflection off of James Justin. Big blow to Leicester inside 6 minutes. The Foxes hit back with a couple of opportunities. Vardy with a back heel well saved, and a decent save as well, better than decent really, from a Perez chest down and shot from Lloris. But from that point on, Tottenham simply taking advantage of Leicester frailties at the back. A Son volley brilliantly saved by Schmeichel, but then it was the Kane show. First, a brilliant finish after a break that saw Lo Celso find Moura and into Kane, and a left foot finish inside the far corner. And then the right foot, exactly the same finish though by Harry Kane after he turned inside Brian Bennett, means a half-time score of Tottenham 3, Leicester 0. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Evenings with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Raven. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Talksportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of Talk Sport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
of Kasper Schmeichel, and just inside the far corner, Tottenham 3, Leicester 0. They are running away with it.
Finish from Harry Kane. He had nothing to aim at. He bent it outside the post and curled it back inside the post. It is absolute precision finish from Harry Kane. Full of confidence, but Ryan Bennett, if they could not pay $5 million for him, I would not pay it.
Chris Perry, who's to blame here? The system, the individuals on the pitch, Brendan Rodgers? What's the problem?
I think it's not the system. I think he kind of has to play that system with the personnel he's got available. I think it's just the fact that they're playing such a high line. I don't think they're set up to play a high line. They're much more set up with Barnes and Vardy and Jose Perez to almost play like Spurs have and drop deep, sit on the edge of their box where Morgan, Evans and Bennett would be much more comfortable, and to allow Spurs onto them and then to try and hit Spurs on the counter-attack. They have been absolutely hit with the sucker punch 3 or 4 times in that half, and they've paid the price.
I mean, you say that about they're forced to play this system with the personnel available, but when you look at what they're doing, it really is a proper 3-4-3 for Leicester. And you said it in the first half, didn't you? They're sort of, it's one-on-one. Mora against Bennett a lot of the time, Kane against Wes Morgan and Son against Evans, or vice versa with Mora and Son. I just wonder what would be wrong with a back four of Justin, Bennett, say Evans and Thomas, and then match them up in midfield, because they're 1-to-1 defensively, Leicester, and then they're outnumbered in midfield as well. It's
I don't think Brendan Rodgers wants to expose young Luke Thomas as an out-and-out left-back against Lucas Moura just yet. I think he's probably more comfortable playing as a wing-back. There's less pressure on him. He obviously looks as though he's pretty comfortable going forward.
Yeah, he's given the ball away for 2 goals, though, hasn't he?
Well, that suggests that he's not great defensively.
Yeah. They put a little bit of pressure on him, and he's fallen away. I mean, look, you go 3-0 down in any Premier League game, and you've got to think to yourself, it's game over. What does Brendan Rodgers say now at the midpoint of this match to try and elicit some sort of comeback? I mean, a point that would just give them a bit of hope of staying ahead of Man United would be huge now.
Yeah, well, they need something, don't they? They need to find something positive from this game. They need to come back in this second half, put on a performance, maybe get a couple of goals back, maybe not even win the game and get a draw, but just to give them something to build on going into that final game.
Yeah, there's something not quite right about them. I mean, even arguably since before lockdown actually happened, things weren't going really well. It's the form since lockdown hasn't been great. 2 wins, 2 defeats, 3 draws. But even, if you go further back, I think it's just 3 wins in something like 11, 12 games. It's not quite right for them, is it?
No, something's not quite right, absolutely. They missed Soyuncu at the back, definitely, but they were really poor at Bournemouth with Soyuncu on the pitch.
That said, plenty of injuries as well today. Ben Chilwell, James Maddison, Ricardo Silva.
Chilwell's a huge miss. Pereira has
absolutely
been a huge miss, without a doubt.
There is another game to come after this on Premier League Live. It's not in the Premier League, it's in the FA Cup. It's Manchester United against Chelsea. United have had 2 fewer days to prepare for this game, but the Chelsea boss Frank Lampard insists it's not going to make much difference.
No, I don't think we do. We played Saturday, Tuesday this week. They've played on Monday and Thursday. So we both played 2 games in this week as it stands. We're in a period where we're playing games all the time, very regularly. And you become play, recover, play again, recover, and you work with the squad as it is. And it's an age-old question. A lot of managers, you probably dig out times when I've mentioned it, but at the same time, it isn't about advantage or not. Sometimes it works in your favour to be playing regularly and ticking over. I don't see it.
Chris, most people probably on paper would look at this and think Man United are the favourites to beat Chelsea. How much of a leveller might, given this bizarre season and a real back-to-back nature of games at the moment, how much of a leveller do you think those 2 extra days might turn out to be?
I don't think they're much of a leveller at all. This is an FA Cup semi-final. Manchester United come into the game in brilliant form. They'll just want the games to come thick and fast. The only question mark for United will be who they're going to have playing at left-back. You don't really want probably Timothy Fosu-Mensah playing there if you can get Luke Shaw or Brandon Williams on the pitch.
Yeah.
But, Man United are in great form. They'll just be looking forward to this game. Chelsea
extra
have been
time?
poor.
Would it come in
potentially?
Extra time?
Yeah. Then you might see, fatigue start to play a big part in if it does go to extra time.
Potentially 6 changes in a match if it goes to extra time, with the extra one allowed, of course, so it could change more than half their team. Listen, second half of this one is still going to be fun, still to come. Tottenham 3-0 up against Leicester before Man United Chelsea. Second half on its way with Chris Perry and myself, Toby Gillis. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Kick off your Sportsmat Sunday with TalkSport's latest super signing, Johnny Owen. Join critically acclaimed filmmaker and actor Johnny Owen for a brand new show dedicated to the culture of football. From retro terrace fashion,
great red card, oh dear,
and classic fan anthems.
What a hit!
To iconic films and game-changing books.
It's a thunderous belter!
Join Johnny Owen and co-host Mark Webster for a celebration of the cultural power of the beautiful game.
That could be the winner!
The unbeatable new weekend lineup just got better. Johnny Owen and Friends.
Big moment!
Tomorrow morning from 9 on TalkSport.
Inject some high-octane, explosive entertainment into the post-apocalyptic wasteland that is your average Sunday. The warm-up with Mad Max Rushton on TalkSport.
Actually, I'm not mad, just a bit tired.
He's the rebel weekend warrior, chained to the wheel of a souped-up juggernaut of sporting confrontation.
Actually, it's just a normal city car, 1.6 automatic.
2 hours of fuel-injected football fury that never runs out of gas, guts, or glory.
Guys.
Wheel spinning through the blasted badlands of your weekend like a demonic convoy from hell.
He clearly hasn't heard the show, has he?
The warm-up belongs to the Mad Max Rushton. This morning from 11 on TalkSport.
Talk Radio, keeping you up to date with all the latest information as events unfold.
We must go further in dealing with this virus.
Listen to Talk Radio for all the latest news, comment and advice.
Coming out with our economy intact is also about saving lives.
Essential information, first and fast.
Keep on following the government's advice.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Celebrating 20 years of Talk Sport.
Back of the net!
They said it wouldn't work.
What, you want to know what I want to say?
Sometimes it didn't.
Serious? Illegal ads.
But somehow it did.
And wrongdoing by the US government.
On DAB, medium wave and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Tottenham Hotspur against Leicester City from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And it's been Tottenham Hotspur's day. 3-0 at half-time. Son Heung-min via a massive deflection off of James Justin, opening the scoring inside 6 minutes. And by half-time, Harry Kane had started running riot. A couple for him, 2 shots, 2 goals. And he is looking for a 3rd hat-trick in his career against Leicester potentially today. He's come out and he has clearly got focus in his eyes. Chris Perry is my summariser today, alongside me, Toby Gillis, for this one. And as you mentioned at half-time, I think for Brendan Rodgers it's one of those situations where you just say to your team, go and win the second half, because if they concede another and don't score, they drop out the top 4 with Man United not even playing.
Absolutely, yeah. He'll be playing for pride in the second half. He'll have asked them to, have a look at that shirt, have a look at that badge, and go and play with some pride in that badge and show what you're about. And you never know, you might get back into the game.
Who knows? An early one, and you never know, there may be a little bit of nerves for Tottenham. They have dropped 17 points from winning positions this season, only 5 teams more, as we do get underway with no changes for either side at half-time, which may be a bit of a surprise as far as Leicester are concerned, as Tottenham, shooting from left to right in this second period, have the possession on the near side with Lucas Moura. And he might just get away there. No, enough blue shirts around him.
I think there is a change, Toby. I think Ryan Bennett's gone off.
Yeah,
Damari
right.
Gray's come on to play right wing back. James Justin is now playing as the right side centre back. I said Bennett was terrible in the first half. Looks like Brendan Rodgers agreed with me.
Good spot. Well done. Damari Gray out on the right-hand side, and it's, well, if we're both justifying our points, I did say why not play 4 at the back and match them up in midfield. So I'll take that as well. And that's not even my job. I'm just here to say what I see. Listen, let's get through the 11s. Hugo Lloris is the goalkeeper for Spurs. Serge Aurier, Toby Alderweireld, Davinson Sanchez and Ben Davies across the back. In midfield, it's Moussa Sissoko, Harry Winks, Giovanni Lo Celso, and then Lucas Moura, Harry Kane and Son Heung-min up front. Now for Leicester, it's Kasper Schmeichel in goal, James Justin, Wes Morgan, Johnny Evans and Luke Thomas across the back. Damari Gray, Wilfred Ndidi, Yuri Tielemans and Harvey Barnes, I suppose, normally on the left, with a Jose Perez supporting Jamie Vardy up front.
It's pretty much a 4-4-2, isn't it, for Leicester now?
Yeah. Here is Heung-min Son over on the far side. His little touchback might only reach Perez. Ben Davies did well to scamper to that quickly, and his ball forward, which was really not intended for Kane, has found him, and he's worked it in behind for Son. Oh, he's so unlucky. It was a fabulous bending ball in behind Wes Morgan, and then Son took it and slipped as he was in on the goalkeeper.
Did he slip, or did Morgan catch him?
Well, if he catches
it's
him,
an absolutely brilliant ball. I'm not sure he slid. No, he didn't. He slipped. He did slip.
Slipped.
Yep. Such a pity. The ball from Kane deserved Son to go on and score the goal. It
the
really
first
did.
touch just came off the outside of his right boot, and he had to then change direction. So I'm not sure he was properly in behind anyway at that point. Oh, Lo Celso with a good burst of pace to get away from Justin down the left-hand side. There's nobody in the box to aim for. He was so quick. And that bounces back off of Justin once he eventually did cross onto Lo Celso, and behind it goes for a goal kick. But Leicester, so far, in just as much trouble second half as they were for the entirety of the first.
Absolutely, they haven't started, have they? We spoke about a reaction and coming out and starting. 2 attacks from Spurs have just been brilliant. The ball from Harry Kane to Son was absolutely special, and it really did deserve Son to go through and get the goal. And then Lo Celso with a great change of pace down the left-hand side left James Justin for dead.
I wonder how much it affects Leicester's recruitment in the summer, and also the players that they get to keep if they don't end up in the Champions League. Do we think there's anyone here that's demanding enough at this stage of their Leicester career that they go, I'm off? Madison and Ndidi?
Madison, I don't think so. I don't think Madison's done enough to suggest that he can move to one of the top 4 clubs. Chilwell potentially. I mean, there's lots of interest, isn't there? There's been Chelsea been spoken about for a long, long time now.
Tends to be one a summer, doesn't it, with Leicester?
Yeah.
They don't let more than one go.
No, and they've already, I think, pretty much secured Adam Lallana coming in next season, which I think could be a great...
He's a very good player.
Great acquisition for them. Very, very flexible, can play anywhere. What a great player he is, and really good around the dressing room too.
Even in his early 30s, there's still something in that man. He's had an awful time with injury, hasn't he, over the last year for Liverpool. Otherwise, I think he'd have played a more integral part as Leicester get it up to the edge of the Tottenham box. Here's Damari Gray, scored in the win against Sheffield United. His shot that time is blocked by Ben Davies. And it's going to be a throw-in over on the far side to the Foxes. At TalkSport Live, if you want to give us your thoughts. Will Leicester end up out of the top 4? Will they end up out of the top 4 by the end of today? One more goal for Spurs would do it. At the moment, the goal difference level with United, Manchester United, but Leicester's goals scored column is enough to keep them above by 4. Here's Ndidi up towards the edge of the box. 2 blue shirts crowding out the Tottenham player. It might have been Lo Celso. It's a free kick edge of their own area though, left-hand side. Nearly 5 played in this second half. Tottenham 3, Leicester 0. I mean, it's sort of un-Jose Mourinho-like to be 3-0 up at half-time, isn't it? You never would have expected that of a Jose side.
But I think the way they've set up has been absolutely perfect, Jose Mourinho, in terms of sitting back, allowing Leicester to build pressure, soaking it up, and then hitting teams on the counter-attack.
Sanchez gets on the end of a looping ball and gives it to Lucas Moura. A little trick by Moura fools Luke Thomas.
He's just looked a little bit off the pace today.
Yeah,
it's a little step up in class, to be fair, isn't it, in terms of Lucas Moura compared to what Sheffield United had on the right wing.
Yeah, as well as Sheffield United have done.
Yeah, no, they've been excellent this season, but just run out of run out of steam a bit, haven't they?
They'll be a bit disappointed with Leicester as well today, Sheffield United, because it takes Tottenham away from them, really. Think that the Blades now won't finish above Spurs, who are moving 4 clear. Tottenham's final opponent this season is Crystal Palace, who have lost at least 5 on the trot. It might be 6.
It's always a tough place to go, though, Selhurst Park.
Yeah, mainly because of the fans, though. There ain't none of them at the moment. Maybe October. Suggestions from the Prime Minister this week that they're going to be having trial runs.
You've seen that, yep. That's good news, isn't it?
Who knows how many, maybe about third capacity in some of these stadiums, and if that's to happen, then I always think the most difficult thing for these clubs is to determine who
exactly, yeah,
who gets in and who doesn't, because most of them will have more than a third of their stadia each week filled by season ticket holders. There's Vardy trying to get the ball into Tielemans. Had nothing, Jamie Vardy, today, has he? Barnes through the legs of Lo Celso. He's done really well there. Barnes got there ahead of Sissoko as well. Finds Ndidi. About 40 yards from the Tottenham goal. Spreads play to the right hand side for Damari Gray. Wants the 1-2 with Justin. Instead he moves infield to Ndidi up to the edge of the 18-yard box for Barnes. There's Thomas. Thomas's left foot crosses have been decent today. That one drops over Vardy. It's away by Davinson Sanchez. Near side, it'll bounce once, twice, 3 times, and Evans thought about letting it drop out of play, but just chests it down, moves infield to Tielemans. Gets it back, cross into the centre circle for Ndidi. Look how deep Tottenham are. Everybody behind the ball bar Harry Kane when Ndidi had it, the attacking edge of the centre circle. Perez, Justin, James Justin into Perez, little layoff by Jamie Vardy. Will come back at him from Tottenham. 3 white shirts around him, moves it to Damari Gray. 1 step over, 2 step overs, touches it back to Justin. There's the cross to the back post. Thomas did so well to get in ahead of Mora there. He made a run beautifully inside of him, but he couldn't take it under control. And then the clearance up to Harry Kane, who's out-muscled Wes Morgan. 2 blue shirts around him, scuffs his left foot shot wide.
And that's the game in a nutshell, isn't it? Leicester attacking at one end of the pitch, almost score a goal. And just one long ball, and suddenly Harry Kane is in 1v1 against Wes Morgan. And Harry Kane, I think, probably should have tried to take him on. Took the shot on from the edge of the box, maybe ran out of puff a little bit. I think it's a good deflection off of Morgan, actually. It did take a deflection.
Right, yeah. Corner to
Spurs, yep.
Thomas was a bit unfortunate at the other end, wasn't he? Because he darted inside Mora and did get on the end of it, but couldn't get the control, and he'd have had pretty much a simple tap-in had he got it down. Meantime, Lo Celso to take. Here comes the cross towards the near post. It was Sanchez who tried to flick it on. The clearance came out to Sissoko. There's Lo Celso. Good work there defensively by Jamie Vardy. Now he's got a long way to go down this left-hand side. Tackle came in by Lo Celso.
It's a foul.
I don't think the whistle's gone, has it?
He's given the throw. It's a foul. He certainly... Lo Celso makes every attempt to try and get the ball, but he certainly makes contact with Jamie Vardy's leg before he does get the ball.
Yeah, and didn't get anywhere near the ball.
No.
It's a free kick, yellow card probably.
Yeah,
as well.
should have been a yellow card. Vardy was away, wasn't he?
Taking the throw. Anyway, moved it in field. Here's Ndidi in the centre circle, right on the attacking edge of it. To Evans. Now Harvey Barnes tries to find Thomas. Aurier just has too much for him, although he's given it straight back to Thomas now, and then a foul by the Ivorian. And Anthony Taylor today has been quite lenient. That could have been a yellow card as well, I think.
He just lunges in a little bit. He's a tiny bit late. There's not a lot in it.
He's given more yellow cards than any other ref this season, Anthony Taylor. None so far today.
Good opportunity for Tielemans to bend that ball in with his right foot.
With the shaven head, he has a little look down at the ball and then a glance into the box to see where he's aiming. And it goes towards Wes Morgan. Oh, just in front of him was Ben Davies to get a flick away, or it would have been a free header on goal. Brilliant defending by Davies, but it had to be.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It is absolutely brilliant. He takes this off of Wes Morgan's head. Wes Morgan thinks he's going to just get anything on it, and it hits the back of the net, and Davies just flicks it over his head.
Corner for Tielemans, who delivered that brilliant free kick just there. Can he get this one right? No. Moore away first man. And he'll chase his own clearance. And he might get there as well. He's been taken out there, hasn't he?
Flash of heads, was it?
Moura. That looks nasty. Referee needs to have a look. No, Lucas Moura is picking himself up. And Leicester will get on with the game. Here's Damari Gray. Poor pass behind Barnes, who has to scamper towards the near side. Harvey Barnes comes back to Thomas. Now Jose Perez, who signals to Thomas where he wants him to run and then decides not to go anywhere near him, and Tottenham win it back.
Yeah, he's unfortunate here, and he's going to get a yellow card for that. There's nothing in that at all from Lucas Moura. The two challenges before from Lo Celso and Aurier were far worse than that. He times this almost perfectly.
Cobby has been in touch at TalkSport Live. First part of the job today, I would say, has been done by Tottenham. I don't see a comeback from the Foxes today. The final part is for the Blues to silence United fans at Wembley today. Blue is the colour, he says. Cobby from Ghana. So he's obviously worrying about how Chelsea are going to find their way into the Champions League. But you would say really now that they're basically there, Chelsea. With 2 to play, they'd be a point clear of Leicester. Manchester United also have 2 to play.
And they play each other, obviously, Leicester and Manchester United. That's the big thing.
Exactly. So, only a Man United win, a Chelsea loss in both their games, and then a Leicester victory in the final day. As Damari Gray goes for goal from this free kick, pushed over the bar. Fairly routine save for Hugo Lloris.
Yeah, and it was straight above him, wasn't it? It was good pace and power from Damari Gray. Hits the target. To the deflection off of Sissoko.
Yeah, he's done well. I say that was routine, but he was moving away to his right, Lloris, and he had to turn back, and perhaps I didn't give him the credit he deserved.
It was middle of the goal, though, wasn't it? Which was fortunate for him.
Corner again, away by Sissoko, floated back in by Thomas. I think Tielemans will pick it up right side, smashes it off of Ben Davies. Another corner to Leicester.
Tottenham defend the box so much better now than they did, though, in the past. You can really see the influence that Jose Mourinho's had on them defensively, certainly.
Tielemans to take. Morgan near the penalty spot, and Didi even closer. Here comes the delivery towards Morgan. Got up this time, puts it over the bar. Goal kick. I think he's sort of a bit like Ryan Giggs in some ways. You know, he's got towards the end of his career, and Leicester just know that it would be politically terrible of them not to keep him. Where's Morgan?
I don't know. You think he's going to be on a decent wage? You think he's going to be a bit part player? I understand where you're coming from, but you know there's more important things here now. Yeah. You know, he'll probably could go somewhere in the Championship maybe and play, maybe abroad even.
Yeah, but it's one of those, isn't it, where you've got your life.
He'll want to stay there. Absolutely, of course he will.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure if it's a really good move. I think if I was Brendan Rodgers, I'd be looking to move him on, and I wouldn't be sentimental about it at all. He's had his time here. He's been brilliant for the club, but the club needs to move on now.
Yeah, I mean, if it restricts him in the transfer market, then you would imagine that he would be disappointed by it, because he's not going to play much anymore. Aged 36 now, well into his 37th year. Here's Damari Gray on the right hand side attacking Ben Davies. Leicester better in the last 10-15 minutes of this second half. In fact, it's nearly 15 minutes old. There's the clearance by Alderweireld over onto the far side. Throw in, I think it came off of a Leicester player last, actually, to Spurs.
I think what we're seeing is Brendan Rodgers maybe admitting that he got it wrong first half. You know, the change from a back three to a back four, they certainly look more comfortable playing a back four, and they have all season playing a back four, I think.
It's one of those, I think, that a lot of us fans, we look at it and we just go, well, just play 3 at the back, or just play 4 at the back. But actually, one or the other takes a huge amount of coaching, doesn't it, and organisation.
And it's hugely different, and it depends what system the opposition plays as to where the spaces are and where the areas are to exploit on the pitch. It's so different.
Yeah, you do often see coaches, when they're beleaguered and under pressure and they've been playing one or the other, switch to the one that they haven't been playing, and you think, well, you probably haven't been coaching that for the last however long. And it might work for 1 or 2 games, but eventually it can be found out. I wonder whether that's happened to Leicester today. Here's Thomas into space down the left-hand side, but Sissoko was always going to be first to that one. And then a lovely turn inside Damari Gray, and he smacks it away to Harry Kane, who is being marshalled by Wes Morgan, and Morgan's just hauled him down there.
Yeah, he just got too tight, Wes Morgan. Lovely bit of skill, though, from Moussa Sissoko down in his own right-hand corner of the pitch. Defensive corner, did brilliantly, and then Harry Kane, Morgan gets too tight. Yeah, just rolled him. Yeah, used all his experience, used his body so well there.
And surely that's a yellow card, but that hasn't been given.
Should be. Harry Kane's away there.
Yeah.
That's Wes Morgan. You know, that's his reputation, stopping him getting a yellow card.
Maybe. Free kick forward towards Kane. He heads it up into the sky rather than flicking it on, but it's going to drop to Mora, tackled by Thomas. Comes off of the Tottenham man last. Throw in for Leicester, which they turn back to the goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, who might be just about his first touch in this second half. He's been a spectator, which means it's been better from Leicester as the ball is on towards Vardy. Barnes bursts onto it. Aurier's there first, clears just behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's good positioning from Serge Aurier, really good cover position, but it's a lovely flick from Vardy into the path of Barnes. His first touch was good, he was looking to break through. Sissoko just gets enough of a body on him to slow him down and allow Aurier to come across and clear the danger. He's gone behind for a corner though, I think.
Yeah, just about. Here comes the outswinging delivery by Tielemans. Might drop into the 18-yard box. Was Morgan holding? Maybe Evans, one of the two. I think free kick given
between
the other way.
Between the two of them, they were just trying to block someone off, weren't they? Yeah, it was Johnny Evans had his arm around Davinson Sanchez's shoulder.
Manchester United against Chelsea from Wembley in the FA Cup to come up in, 40 minutes time? Something like that. So 6 o'clock UK time. You can join us, of course, for that one. And to answer your question of earlier, Chris, I'm just having a quick look at the team news. Brandon Williams is playing for Man United in what looks like they're going for a back three with Lindelof, Bailly and Maguire all in the team as Kane plays it up towards Son, beats the keeper to it. He's offside, but actually it was a decent save by Kasper Schmeichel anyway.
Well, he did. Schmeichel had to save it because you never know with VAR now whether that would have been brought back or not. That would have been, he was offside on that occasion. Certainly the linesman got it right.
Yeah.
But Schmeichel didn't know that. He had to make sure it didn't go in the back of the net just in case.
Also interesting from the Manchester United team news, Greenwood and Martial on the bench. Rashford starts with James, maybe even as a striker, James. And Bruno Fernandes does start.
3-4-3, do you think, for Manchester United?
Yeah, could be. Here's Harvey Barnes coming forward for Leicester, opens up for a shot, but he doesn't quite get it with the power that he might have hoped, and it remains Tottenham 3, Leicester 0. Easy save, that one. Definitely better second half.
There was always going to be reaction. You know, Leicester are a decent side. That was as poor as they've been in the first half. A really bad performance. You expected a reaction, and you also expected Spurs not to really throw too much forward.
Oh, Justin's given the ball to Son. Long way out. Son, ball across towards, well, I think the intention was Lucas Moura, but he's not quite got that one right. Behind it goes. I actually think that Chelsea are probably being matched up a little bit by
I think they have.
Man United. 3 at the back as well. Rudiger, Zuma, Azpilicueta, and then James right and Alonso left. And it is Giroud that gets the nod up front.
Yeah, I think Giroud makes sense, absolutely. I think he's been excellent the last 5 or 6 games.
Fascinating encounter to come, that cup game. The right to play Arsenal in the final. Sissoko takes the ball off of Tielemans but gives it only to Ndidi. Right hand side, here's Damari Gray. James Justin goes outside of him, but they've moved it infield instead. Now Ndidi might pick out Justin, who I was told at half time is a family friend of our producer today, Chris. And he says he's a very good lad. His dad used to hang out with James Justin's father. So he'll be a disappointed family friend today. As Heung-min Son comes forward.
Good tackle by Justin.
Yeah. So a little bit better from him. Forging himself a career at this top level now, James Justin. And certainly someone that Brendan Rodgers appears to trust. 9 consecutive Premier League starts for the former Luton Town man. £8 million last summer. Not a cheap one. Although nowadays, I suppose, it's sort of nothing, isn't it, in many ways?
It's not a lot of money, is it, with some of the extravagant fees you pay nowadays?
He's moved it wide for Damari Gray. Tottenham really struggling to get out of their own half, but in a way, as we've been saying throughout, that's sort of their game plan, isn't it? You know, wait, suck them in, break, goal. As they might try here. Here's Sissoko on the edge of his own 18-yard box. Taking his time, looking up.
I think Jose Mourinho's mindset will be, listen, we're 3-0 up, we don't need another goal, let's make sure we don't concede.
Yeah.
If they get another goal, great, but
he prefers 3-0 to 4-1, doesn't he?
Of course he will, absolutely. So do I.
Well, yeah, but the one thing I've always thought about that, and I understand it, as Iheanacho tries to go in behind, and that one's going to bounce back to him, actually. Iheanacho, left side, down on the byline, takes the run. Aurier gets a toe in, turns it behind for a corner. The one thing I've always thought about that is 4-1 gets you higher up the table than 3-0. Because in the end,
the goals scored.
They goals scored. I mean, that is why Leicester are above Man United at the moment. Quite simply that, because they've scored more goals.
Generally, the team that has the best defence wins the league.
Yes, that's true. That is true. As Justin goes in with a strike from distance, the corner coming out to him, he's put that one well wide. Yeah, there's no doubt you're right about that, but on sort of any given individual match day, 4-1 I suppose is better than 3-0. There's Johnny Evans going down there with Sanchez, and that's just being looked at here.
I think it'd be very harsh to give a penalty for that.
2 number 6s.
I mean, that goes on in the box all the time, doesn't it? That
the
sort of thing.
is having a look.
It's clumsy. It's clumsy at worst.
Well, nobody has given more penalties in the Premier League this season than the referee Anthony Taylor. It wouldn't be him that would be giving this technically. It would be Stuart Atwell, the VAR.
I'd like to see him have a look at it, though. I mean, they can certainly allow him to have a look at it, can't they?
He is he? It's drinks break time, but is he going to have a look as well?
Nampalys Mendy's coming on.
Yeah. For what would be his 50th appearance for Leicester today. Well, not 50 appearances today. His 50th appearance for Leicester.
And Albrighton as well, Mark Albrighton.
Yeah, Tielemans' afternoon is up.
It's not all.
No, it's Dennis Pratt.
Dennis Pratt, sorry, yeah.
So
they do look a little bit like
coming off. It's a straight swap really for both, I'd guess.
Yeah, some fresh legs in there. Suggestion really that maybe Brendan Rodgers thinks they're not going to win this game.
Why not rest them? Makes sense. I think Nampalys Mendy's been quite unlucky. Injury troubles are plenty since arriving at Leicester. It's been nearly 4 years. And just about to make his 50th appearance for the club. It's a good player when he arrived. It's not a penalty, by the way.
No,
it's just a goal kick for Lloris.
You do wonder, though, if he is thinking that maybe they're not going to get back into this game, whether you take Vardy off.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because he really wants the golden boot.
Yeah, I get the golden boot, but Leicester want Champions League qualification.
Yes. Yeah. Well, of course, every goal might bring them closer to it. It is so tight.
I'd like to see young George Hurst get on the pitch, having seen him play against my youth team and 2 or 3 seasons ago. Fantastic young talent he is, David Hurst's son.
Yeah, came from Sheffield Wednesday as well, where David Hurst
via Leuven, of course.
Yes, absolutely. In the Belgian second tier, under, who he was managed by last season?
Nigel Pearson,
absolutely. who's been sacked earlier today by Watford. At least we all think so. It's not actually been confirmed. Shot comes in from Dennis Pratt from a long way out. Going to ricochet back. There's Vardy trying to get it in towards Iheanacho. Away by Aurier, down to Thomas by Pratt. You're absolutely right. They do almost spitting image, aren't they, Pratt and Albrighton?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thomas's cross takes a deflection off of Aurier. Vardy will just
maybe Albrighton's hair is just a little bit blonder.
I'll let you make that call. Never worth saying that to a colourblind person, of course, like I am. Jamie Vardy to take the corner. No, he's going to leave it now. I was wondering. Damari Gray's jogging over. This their 12th corner of the game, 71 minutes in, but Spurs still leading 3-0. And to be honest, I can't remember many of them causing Lloris trouble. One eventually fell to Vardy, didn't it, in the first half, and he backheeled it. That one's into the arms of Lloris as well.
They're off. Look, Lo Celso was off quickly. Hugo Lloris not playing this one so quickly, but Spurs have obviously been told that as soon as they win the ball here, there's a real opportunity.
Davis takes it, gives it to Son. To Davis on the left again.
Spurs have managed the game really well, haven't they? They've limited Leicester's chances in the second half, despite allowing Leicester to have possession and territory.
Yeah, calm as you like. And it doesn't, just as long as they win it, it doesn't matter hugely for them, the goal
difference is nothing to them. No. I mean, if they can finish the season off with 2 victories, which they're more than capable of, it'll be a decent end to the season for Jose Mourinho, finishing 6th. We looked at one stage that they might be out of European qualification chances, really.
Yeah, he's certainly had a positive influence. I mean, when you consider that, if you look at the table since he arrived, Spurs are 4th, and indeed since lockdown, Spurs are 4th. So they're actually very consistent.
Liverpool are not anywhere near the top 4.
No, Liverpool have been.
And you know they're going to be in the top 4 next season. So
Kane goes down under a challenge by Johnny Evans. No, I'll take your point, but you can only do what you're doing.
He's done well. He's had an impact on the team. He's had an impact on the style of play. At times they've been really dour to watch. The Everton game was one of the worst I've seen.
Bournemouth were awful.
Yeah.
Sheffield United, they were awful in spite of the dodgy VAR decision.
When a team comes onto them like Leicester have today, which Everton didn't, and that's where Spurs looked in trouble when they had to make the run in, if you like, to do all the attacking. When a team comes onto them like Leicester have today, they're set up perfectly to play on the counter-attack.
Ball forwards towards Son. Justin gets 2 bites at the cherry to clear. Finds Pratt. Pratt inside right. Forward it goes to Iheanacho. Looked a sensation when he broke through at Manchester City. Iheanacho hasn't quite got himself to those levels that we had hoped he would reach, but he has got 10 goals this season in all competitions. That's his best season since getting 16 for Manchester City in his last year there.
You think the kind of players he's no disrespect to Leicester, but the kind of players he's playing with at Manchester City and the chances that he got there.
Yeah, but he didn't miss. He wasn't one of those that missed a lot either. No, he looked a really, really impressive player, but the problem was they had Aguero, they signed Jesus, and he probably isn't quite that calibre and never was going to be, as Harry Winks brings play forward. Pass in field to Lo Celso, was just a bit behind him, and it's allowed Damari Gray to make the challenge. He'll be frustrated with that, Winks, because he's a better passer than that. Gray has it, centre of the field, needs a bit of help, turns away from Lo Celso. The referee was behind him, but he moved it left for Thomas. Gray. Thomas. Not really going anywhere at the moment, Leicester. Back to Evans. Morgan. Now here's Mendy to the right hand side for Justin. Infield to Harvey Barnes. Barnes with the outside of his boot slips it to the right side of the 18-yard box, finds Iheanacho, gets a lucky bounce off of Davis, gives it to Justin. There's his cross, header away by Sissoko. Pratt takes it off of Thomas's toe, gives him it back. Now Pratt on the left hand side, inside of Lo Celso. There's the ball towards Iheanacho, but easily headed away. Leicester continue to put the pressure on though. Justin, Mendy. Mendy's ball in towards Vardy, over him, away by Aurier. Defensively sound today, that's for sure, Aurier. And Harry Kane is trying to emerge with the ball over Evans. Thinks that he's been Elbowed in the face, Harry Kane. He's still down.
I'm not sure Harry Kane would stay down.
It's great. Puts it over the bar.
Good play from Leicester, wasn't it? Lovely little interchange of passes on the edge of the box. Gray's shot, always rising over Lloris's bar. Harry Kane doesn't usually stay down, so I'm sure he did take some sort of contact.
That's for sure, Aurier.
Most
Harry
poor
Kane is trying to
performances you'll see anywhere from Norwich
yesterday.
yesterday.
Amazing, it wasn't more than 2. Ending with 9 men.
I thought they actually defended
towards Son, and Mendy has it for those in blue once more.
You do get the feeling that Spurs, if they do get it right once,
absolutely,
are going to get another chance.
Yeah, get it up to Kane in behind, and he's away.
Yeah.
Still playing that high line, aren't they, with Evans and Morgan, as Pratt comes forward, shoots.
It's awful.
Smashes it well wide.
That's an awful effort from Dennis Pratt. Lots of time, didn't he, to size up the shot, took it on with his left foot, and he just skews off the outside. And
you saw the way he was moving, how right-footed he was, though, didn't you?
Yep.
In the build-up. At Talk Sport Live, we had one message coming in suggesting, it's gone a long way back now, that Tielemans is a bit odd. He's had an odd year. A suggestion that perhaps we're not quite sure he's going to become the player we thought he was when he originally arrived.
Tielemans has always been one that there's been talk about being a top, one of the top midfielders in Europe almost.
Yeah.
And he's never quite lived up to it. He's still only 23 years old, so he can still turn into that sort of player.
Yeah, time on his hands. 6 assists so far this season. Only Harvey Barnes has had more for Leicester. He doesn't get goals, just hasn't scored in his last 26 now. Youri Tielemans, as we move into the
olsa biraz çekinirdim.
Orkun abi de bahsetti. Luis Gustavo gibi çok önemli bir eksiği var. Derbiler tabii ki maç önü tercihleri açısından zor karşılaşmalar ama ben bugün Beşiktaş'ın daha motive ve daha konsantre olacağını düşünüyorum bu karşılaşmaya. Beşiktaş'ın galibiyetine yakın olduğumu söyleyebilirim. Oranı 1.67. Şöyle de aklımdan da şöyle bir senaryo geçmiyor değil. Son yıllarda derbilerde en farklı galibiyetlerden biri bugün Beşiktaş-Fenerbahçe maçında ortaya çıkabilir bence. Geçtiğimiz sezondu yanlışsam 3-0'dan 3-3'e gelmişti Beşiktaş-Fenerbahçe maçı. Ben bugün de gollü maç olmasını bekliyorum. Beşiktaş'ın kazanmasını bekliyorum. Ve Beşiktaş bugün çok farklı bir galibiyete imza atabilir diye düşünüyorum Fenerbahçe karşısında.
Oranı 2 idi. Beşiktaş galibiyet oranı 2 idi. 1.67'ye kadar düştü. Ben dün akşamki yayında da bunu söylemiştim. Ben Beşiktaş'tan galibiyet bekliyorum. Fenerbahçe'nin her maçta gol yeme problemi var. Luis Gustavo gibi bana göre takımın en önemli oyuncusu. Forma giymeyecek. Tolga Ciğerci ilk 11'de bu arada. Onu da belirteyim. Beşiktaş'tan galibiyet ben de bekliyorum. Maç sonucu 1.
Peki son maça geçelim. Sivasspor Gençler Birliği 2.5 gol üstü demek istiyorum. Yani
ben de aynı şekilde.
Sivasspor galibiyetinin oranı 1.42 ama bence çok fazla riski karşıladığını düşünmüyorum bu oranın. Sivasspor'un o kadar da favori olduğunu düşünmüyorum. Gençler Birliği ligin iyi takımlarından biri bence. 2.5 gol üstü değerlendirebilirsiniz arkadaşlar. Süper Lig'de de 7 karşılaşmayı böylelikle yorumlamış olduk. Birazdan saat 20'de Manchester United-Chelsea maçı başlayacak. FA Cup yarı finalinde karşılaşmayı Nesine.com web adresinden canlı olarak izleyebileceksiniz. Aynı zamanda İtalya Serie A'daki 4 karşılaşmayı da yine Nesine.com adresinde izleyebileceksiniz arkadaşlar. Yorumlara hemen döneyim. Orkun abi dün Granada ve Beşiktaş maçını önerinle kombin yaptım demiş Emre Budak. Berkay Can ve birçok izleyicimiz tahminleriniz nedir demiş şu an devam eden maçlardan. Şöyle hemen güncelleyelim.
Bir şey eklemek istiyorum. Bir şey eklemek istiyorum.
Ben de şunu eklemek istiyorum. Sonra hemen sana vereceğim abi sözü. Norveç'te ikili verdiğimiz kombinde maalesef ki arkadaşlar Kristiansund Vålerenga maçının ilk yarısında gol gelmedi. İkili kombinimiz maalesef başarılı olmadı. Bunu da söylemiş olalım. Başarısız kombinlerimizi de atlamayalım. Söz Orkun abi'de.
Emre Budak, sağ olsun Emre Budak her yayınımıza katılıyor. Çok teşekkür ederim Emre'ye. Beşiktaş ve Granada galibiyetlerinden bahsetmiştim ben dün akşamki yayında. Valla Emre Budak'a şunu söylemek istiyorum. Biz doğru tercihleri yaptık. Beşiktaş galibiyet oranı 2 idi, 1.67'ye düştü. Granada galibiyet oranı da Granada Atletik Bilbao maçında da Granada galibiyet oranı da 1.90'dı ben dün söylediğimde. Şu anda 1.70'e düştü. Yani biz en iyi oranlardan kuponlarımızı aldık bu karşılaşmaları. Tutar tutmaz hep birlikte göreceğiz. Umarım başarılı oluruz. Bizden ziyade umarım takımlar başarılı olur. Biz çok iyi oranlardan kuponumuzu aldık. Bekliyoruz artık. Beklemeye geçtik ama saha içerisinde oynayanlar bizler değiliz ne yazık ki. Tahmin yapıyoruz burada. Ama en iyi oranlardan aldığımızı düşünüyorum. Herkese bol şans.
Vålerenga kuponu yattı evet. Yani maalesef o ikili kombinimiz gelmedi. Berkay Can demiş ki Villarreal kazanır mı demiş. Bizim beklentimiz orada maç sonu 1 olması yönünde. Hatta
ben şu an izliyorum maçı.
İlk yarı Villarreal tahmini de olabilir. Eğer kaçırmadıysam. Bir de ilk yarı sanıyorum Orkun abi önermek için
biraz izliyorum.
Hazırlanıyor. Yani maçı izliyor.
Biraz daha izliyorum.
Peki. Evet. Sampdoria geldi ama sonuç çıkmadı. Şimdi maçlara şöyle bakalım. Aktif tahminlerimiz şöyle bir hatırlatmak gerekirse eğer. Artık Alaves Barcelona maçında istediğimiz her şeyi aldık arkadaşlar. İlk yarı 2 tercihimiz vardı. O geldi. Deplasman taraf 4.5 gol üstü tercihimiz vardı. O da geldi. Alaves Barcelona maçında istediğimiz her şeyi aldık. 2.5 gol üstümüz de vardı hatta. O da geldi. Tottenham Leicester City maçı kornerler noktasında gerçekten çok güzel bir maç oldu. Ama maalesef karşılıklı gol var tercihimiz şu ana kadar gelmedi. Leicester golü bulamadı. Az önce de yine bir pozisyon daha kaçırdı Leicester City. Dakika 90 artı 1 artı 4 işareti geldi. Tottenham 3, Leicester 0 maç devam ediyor. Parma 2, Sampdoria 2. Parma Sampdoria maçında da şu ana kadar ne dediysek oldu. İstediğimiz her şeyi aldık. İlk yarıda önce 0.5 gol üstü önerdik. Sonrasında ilk yarı 1.5 gol üstü önerdik ve sıradaki gol Parma'yı önerdik. İlk yarı 2-0 kapatmıştık. 2'de 2 ile kapatmıştık. Sonrasında ikinci yarıda da Sampdoria durumu 2-1 yaptıktan sonra derken bu arada Sampdoria 3'ü attı. İnanılmaz bir maç izliyoruz İtalya Serie A'da. Parma 2, Sampdoria 3 oldu. Sampdoria ikinci yarıda bulduğu gollerle durumu 3-2 yapıyor arkadaşlar. Müthiş bir maç izliyoruz İtalya Serie A'da. Tam bahsederken Parma Sampdoria maçından durum 3-2 oldu. Çok ama çok ilginç bir maç. Parma Sampdoria maçı. Gerçekten de Sampdoria'yı kutlamak gerek. 2-0'dan dönmek, Parma'ya karşı dönmek hiç kolay değil. Ama skor 3-2'ye geldi. Dar alanda çok güzel paslaşmalar. Sampdoria'lı futbolculardan Quagliarella'nın asisti. Durum 3-2 oldu. Parma Sampdoria karşılaşmasında. Devam edelim. Zenit Spartak Moskova maçında Zenit galibiyeti bekliyoruz. Maç önü tahminimiz o yöndeydi. Zenit 2-1 önde o karşılaşmada. Yani şu an devam eden maçlardan aktif tahminimiz var mı? Yani Villarreal Eibar maçında maç sonu 1 bekliyoruz. Şu anda oranı 1.55 arkadaşlar. İsterseniz şu anda maç sonu 1'i alabilirsiniz. Villarreal Eibar karşılaşması için. Real Valladolid Real Betis maçında ben ilk yarı 0 bekliyorum. Şu anda oranı 1.65. Bunların dışında şu anda aktif bir tercihimiz yok. Saat 20'de başlayacak olan Manchester United Chelsea maçını bekliyoruz artık Orkun abiyle beraber.
Aynen öyle. Yani Villarreal bana o güveni tam olarak daha veremedi. İlk yarı bir tercih aklımda ama yani maçı izliyorum. Sonuçta pek çok maçı izliyoruz ama Villarreal izlediğim bölümde bana daha o güveni veremedi. O yüzden birazcık bekleyeceğim o tercih için. Ki yaklaşık 8 dakika sonra Federasyon Kupası maçı başlayacak. Manchester United Chelsea mücadelesi başlayacak. Orada oranlara tekrar bakayım. 2.35'e düşmüş Manchester City. Yani ilk 40'tan öyle çok keskin, sert bir düşüş söz konusu değil. Onun dışında şöyle bir baktığımda çok fazla bir değişiklik yok. Şimdi Leicester City gol atamadı Furkan. Gerçekten yani enteresan.
Maalesef. Ya çok
Hem de
ilginç
yani
maç oldu
3-0
Tottenham
geride
Leicester
olduğu bir
maçı.
karşılaşma.
Zaten maçın 3-0'a
Alaves
gelmesi
Barcelona
de
maçı
çok
sona
enteresan
erdi.
oldu. Süper,
Evet.
süper. Tottenham maçı da bitti 3-0. Yani Alaves maçı için özellikle Alaves Barcelona maçı için gerçekten muazzam bir maç oldu bizim için. Hiç fire vermedik. Bütün tercihlerimiz geldi o karşılaşmada. Bunu söyleyebilirim. Alaves Barcelona maçında verdiğimiz bütün tahminler geldi. Değerlendirenler olmuştur umuyorum ki onları tebrik ediyorum. Tottenham maçında maalesef karşılıklı gol var tercihimiz gelmedi. Korner tercihlerimizle birazcık da olsa kazandırmış olduk takipçilerimize Orkun abi. Parma maçı 3-2 devam ediyor. Zenit maçını açtım ben de şimdi onu takip etmeye başladım. Zenit Spartak Moskova maçında dakika 61. Şu andan itibaren de o karşılaşmayı takip etmeye başladığımı söyleyebilirim arkadaşlar.
Şimdi tahminlerimizi söyledik. Artık bekliyoruz. saat 22 seansına geçelim. La Liga'ya geçelim. Bu arada arkadaşlar sizler de yazın tercihlerinizi. Güvendiğiniz maçlar varsa, tercihler varsa onları da bekliyoruz. Saat 22'de çok sayıda La Liga'da karşılaşma var. Bu arada Furkan, yani herhalde bu sektörde olduğundan beri, hatta daha da eskisine gideceğim. Belki lise yıllarına gideceğim. Bunu da hemen hemen her programda söylüyorum. Yani Temmuz'un 19'undayız şu anda. Yani yazın tam ortasındayız diyeyim. Yani bültene bakar mısın? Hemen hemen her ülkeden maç var. Çok enteresan bir dönemden geçiyoruz. Normalde tatil olması gerekirken bu tip ligler Mayıs ayının ortalarında sonuna doğru biterken şu anda bu gece o kadar çok maç var ki 19 Temmuz gecesi gerçekten çok enteresan geliyor.
Olsa kazandırmış.
Ki
şu anda
sektörde 30 evet.
Şu anda Orkun
Evet.
abi bence yani konuşulması gereken tek konu normalde transferler olurdu bu dönemlerde ama henüz transferlere geçemedik. Henüz ligleri tamamlamadığımız için transferlerden bahsedemiyoruz ama ya senin de bahsettiğin gibi katılıyorum sana, %100 katılıyorum. Herhalde bir daha çok zor yaşayacağımız bir süreç olduğunu düşünüyorum bu sürecin. Yani spor anlamında.
Kesinlikle ve bundan 10 gün sonra da NBA başlayacak. O da enteresan. Yani Temmuz ayında,
Evet.
Ağustos ayında yani NBA konuşmak da gerçekten çok enteresan. Şimdi saat 22'de Sevilla-Valencia mücadelesi var. Ya ben Valencia maçlarına artık yorum yapmakta bayağı zorlanıyorum. Bilmiyorum senin tercihin var. Ben kuponumu almam.
Ben Valencia'yı gördüğüm yerde rakibe diyorum genelde. Tıpkı Inter Udinese'de olduğu gibi. Yani Valencia'yı gördüğümde direkt rakip kimse ona gidiyorum. Ben bugün de yine Sevilla'ya gideceğim bu karşılaşmada. 1.58'den Sevilla galibiyeti beklediğimi söyleyebilirim. Sevilla-Valencia maçı için. Ya da bakacağım hemen açık mı? Açık. Ev sahibi 1.5 gol üstü de değerlendirmelerini tavsiye ediyorum. Hatta bence önce ev sahibi 1.5 gol üst, sonrasında yani oranlar birbirine çok yakın çünkü maç sonu bile gidebilirsiniz ama benim öncelikli beklentimin burada ev sahibi 1.5 gol üstü olduğunu söylemek istiyorum Sevilla Valencia maçı için.
Osasuna Mallorca mücadelesi. Yani Osasuna eğer çok rahatlamazsa kazanabilir diye düşünüyorum.
Ben bu arada çok güzel maç olmasını bekliyorum. Yani Mallorca'nın ligde kalmasını çok istiyorum. La Liga'da gerçekten böyle gönülden Mallorca'yı destekliyorum bu konuda. Yani Osasuna daha iyi bir takım Mallorca'dan. Bugün de bence kazanacaklar ama gönlüm tabii ki de Mallorca'dan yana. Acaba bir 0-2 çifte şans çıkar mı diye düşünmüyor değilim.
Zor maç.
1.67. Mallorca maçı kaybetmez mi acaba diye düşünüyorum ama yani Osasuna sanki kazanacakmış gibi hissediyorum ben de.
Peki. Espanyol Celta Vigo. Bana göre tipik bir alt
Celta
maçı
Vigo
ama sen
galibiyeti
ne dersin
bekliyorum.
bilmiyorum.
Maç sonu 2
Peki.
bekliyorum. Celta Vigo ligde kalmak istiyorsa kazanmak zorunda. Diğer maçlara bakmadan kendi maçını kazanırsa Celta Vigo yeterli olacak zaten.
Atletico Madrid Real Sociedad.
Oran neden 1.85 sence Orkun abi? Atletico'nun galibiyet
Ben zaten
oranı
onu
1.85.
ben onu kaç gündür söylüyorum. Yani neden bir 85'lik bir oran var anlamıyorum. Normal şartlarda Atletico Madrid'in çok rahat kazanması gereken bir karşılaşma. Bir tek orandan dolayı birazcık ben korktum.
Yani Real Sociedad iyi bir takım ama bu kadar zorlayacağını düşünmüyorum ben Atletico Madrid'i. Yani 1.85 biraz bana kuşkulu bir oran gibi geldi. Bilmiyorum. Gerçekten zor bir karşılaşma. Yani burada mesela taraf tercihine şöyle bir gidelim goller noktasında. Atletico Madrid. Mesela burada ev sahibi 1.5 gol üstü yine gidebiliriz yine. Oranı 2.05 arkadaşlar. Yani iki Atletico Madrid golü bence bugün izlermişiz gibi geliyor bana. ev sahibi 1.5 gol üstü değerlendirebilirsiniz. Atletico
Katılırım.
Madrid Real Sociedad karşılaşması için. Bence maç sonu birdense ev sahibi 1.5 gol üstü daha mantıklı. Daha yüksek bir orandan daha mantıklı olduğunu düşünüyorum.
Evet. Granada Atletik Bilbao. Granada'nın futbolunu ben çok beğeniyorum. Ben maç sonucu 1'e gittim. Sen ne dersin?
Ben karşılıklı gol vara gidiyorum. 1.75 oranı var. İki takımın da gol atmasını bekliyorum bu maçta.
Ve Levante Hetafe mücadelesi. Zor bir
Burada da
karşılaşma bu da
KG
benim
var
için.
bekliyorum. Yani
Peki.
Hetafe'nin oranı 1.52 galibiyet oranı. Bence 1.70'ten KG var. Daha cazip gibi görünüyor şu anda maç öncesinde.
Leganes Real Madrid. Real Madrid nasıl bir motivasyonla çıkar? Ne oynanır?
Yani Liverpool gibi olursa eğer onların da durumu birazcık sıkıntılı olabilir bugün Leganes maçında. Yani 2.5 alt olabilir. Bilmiyorum. Kısır bir maç olabilir gibi geliyor bana Leganes Real Madrid karşılaşması. Oran 1.75, 2.5
Yok çok
alta yakın.
oynanacak bir maç değil. Oynanacak bir maç değil bu da. Yani Real
Ya
Madrid'in
bu
nasıl
arada
bir
evet.
reaksiyon göstereceğini bilemiyoruz çünkü.
Yani kuponumu alacağım bir maç değil kesinlikle onu söyleyebilirim. Leganes Real Madrid
Aynı,
maçı.
aynı şekilde. Aynı şekilde bir de sana Roma Inter maçını sorayım. Ona da bakalım. İtalya Serie A'da Roma Inter maçı var. Tipik bir 2.5 gol üstü karşılaşması bence. Yani iki takımın da ara ara savunmaya da yaptığı hatalar. Özellikle Roma'nın savunma hataları ve iki takımın da skor gücü bence 2.5 gol üstü. Inter de galibiyete yakın bence.
Aynı fikirdeyim. Senin söylediklerini birleştirerekten ben de 2.5 gol üstü ve maç sonu 2'yi ikili tercih, ikili öneri olarak vermek istiyorum Roma Inter maçında. Inter'in ikincilik yarışı var Atalanta ile beraber ve Lazio ile beraber aslında. Bence bugün Conte hocam Roma'yı mağlup edecek diye düşünüyorum. Roma bence sezonu bitirdi ya. Yani orada da Fonseca artık bence yollar ayrılmalı. Zaten Cengiz'i yedi Fonseca Hoca orada. Resmen Cengiz'i harcadı takım başına geldiğinden beri. Bugün de bence Inter kazanacaktır Roma karşısında. 2.5 gol üst ve maç sonu 2 olmasını bekliyorum Roma-Inter karşılaşmasının. Bu arada Zenit-Spartak Moskova maçı için arkadaşlar şunu söyleyebilirim. Çok gerçekten temposu çok düşük bir maç. Dakika 69 skor 2-1. Yani gerçekten bir risk almak gerekirse burada 3.5 gol altı değerlendirebiliriz diye düşünüyorum. Zenit Spartak Moskova maçında kalan bölümde ben başka gol olmasını beklemiyorum. 1.95'lik orandan 3.5 altı bence değerlendirebiliriz bu karşılaşmada.
Şimdi Manchester United Chelsea maçı da başladı bu arada. Bakalım orada dediğim gibi hani Manchester United'dan bir galibiyet görebilecek miyiz? Merakla bekliyorum. Şimdi ben de
Ben de hemen
önüme maçı
açayım
açacağım.
karşılaşmayı. İlk yarı en çok korner bet istemiş. Günay Büyük 2.25 oranı var. Maçı maalesef izleyemiyorum Günay Bey. Yani şu an çok fazla maç var. Böyle takip etmeye çalışıyoruz hepsini ama şu anda hiç Valladolid Betis maçına bakma şansım olmadı. Ben ilk yarı 0 önermiştim o karşılaşma için. Skorda hala 0-0 dakika 31. Bakalım. Ya benim beklentim orada ilk yarı 0. Kornerler noktasında maalesef şu anda bir tercihim yok. Real Valladolid, Real Betis maçı için. Orkun abi sana Villarreal Eibar maçını sorayım.
Yani şöyle bir oyun durmuştu. Şimdi tekrar dönüyorum o maça. Villarreal tehlikeli geldi ama out'a çıktı. Yani şöyle sürpriz severler. Oran 3.30'a kadar çıktı. İlk yarı bir tercihli oranı 3.30'a kadar çıktı. Önümüzde de daha 12 dakika var. Sürpriz severler ilk yarı bir tercihini gidebilirler. Yani şöyle neden bekledim biliyor musun? Hem o oyunu göremedim hem de Yani 2 orandan değil de 3.30 gibi böyle daha farklı bir orandan en azından riske girmek mantıklı geldi. Önümüzde de dediğim gibi daha 10 dakikadan fazla bir süre var. İlk yarı bir tercihi sürpriz kuponlarda yapılabilir.
Peki oran 3.25. Dakikada 34 karşılaşmada Manchester United Chelsea maçı başladı. Nesne.com web adresinde maçı canlı olarak takip edebiliyorsunuz. 11'lere hemen şöyle bir bakalım. United Chelsea karşılaşmasında ilk 11'ler açıklandı. Bakalım nasıl çıktı takımlar sahaya. Şimdi United'ın 11'ini vereceğim önce. De Gea var kalede. Savunmada Eric Bailly, Maguire ve Lindelöf üçlüsü var. Kanat bekleri Wan-Bissaka ve Williams, Brandon Williams görev alacak sol bekte. Orta alanda Fred, Nemanja Matic. Bunların önünde Bruno Fernandes. En uçta ise Daniel James ve Marcus Rashford görev alacak Manchester United'da. Chelsea'ye geçelim hemen. Karede Caballero var. Azpilicueta, Kurt Zouma, Antonio Rüdiger, Reece James, Marcos Alonso. Beşli yine bir savunma görüyoruz. İki kanat beki var. Frank'ın da ilk 11'inde çok benzer iki sistemle sahaya çıktı bugün United ve Chelsea. Orta alanda Jorginho, Mateo Kovacic ikilisi görev alacak. İleri üçlüde ise Willian, Mason Mount ve Olivier Giroud'u izleyeceğiz Chelsea'de bu karşılaşmada. Hemen Orkun abi yorumlarını alacağım. Sonrasında da derbinin ilk 11'ini paylaşacağım. Takipçilerimizle 11 belli oldu. Birazdan da onu aktaracağım.
Şimdi şöyle bir canlı iddiada yer alan karşılaşmalardan bir şey daha çıkarabilir miyiz diye bakıyorum ama yok, biraz daha izleyelim. Şu an için bir tercihim yok. Zorlamaya gerek yok. Manchester United Chelsea maçında da ilk 5 dakika geçiliyor şu anda. Ona göre tercihe gideriz. Birazcık daha bekleyelim.
Peki
Hala
o
Manchester
zaman
United tarafındayım ama onu söyleyeyim.
Peki derbinin 11'lerini vereyim hemen hızlıca. Beşiktaş'ın 11'i Ersin Destanoğlu var kalede. Enzo Rocco, İsmat Mirin, Domagoj Vida, Gökhan Gönül, Caner Erkin, Tyler Boyd, Atiba Hutchinson, Muhammed El Neni, Lens, Kevin Prince Boateng ve Burak Yılmaz Beşiktaş'ın Fenerbahçe karşısındaki ilk 11'i. Fenerbahçe'de ise kalede Altay var, Simon Fallet, Hasan Ali Kaldırım, Serdar Aziz, Emre Belezoğlu, Ozan Tufan, Tolga Ciğerci, Ferdi Kadıoğlu, Nebil Dirar, Deniz Türüç ve Vedat Muriç Fenerbahçe'nin derbideki 11'i. İlk 11'de Emre Belezoğlu var. Gustavo yok. Tolga Ciğerci ilk 11'de. Geri Rodriguez yedekler arasında başlayacak karşılaşmaya. Ferdi'yi yine bugün de ilk 11'de izleyeceğiz Fenerbahçe'de kritik Beşiktaş derbisinde.
Görüşüm aynı Furkan. Yani Beşiktaş'ın kazanacağını düşünüyorum ben de. Yani 11 hakkında ne düşünüyorsun?
Yani 11'ler bilmiyorum. Bu arada yani İsmat Mirin'i gördüm ben ilk 11'de ama gerçekten var mı yok mu bir bilgim yok o konuda. Belki de gördüğüm listede de acaba bir sıkıntı vardı diye düşünmüyor değilim. Benim gördüğüm listede stoperler arasında İsmat Mirin vardı ama bence bir yanlışlık var. O yüzden Twitter'dan bakma şansım olmadı. Birazdan Twitter'a bakacağım. İlk 11'ler
Şimdi
için
ben hemen
şunu
bakıyorum.
söyleyeceğim.
Ben hemen bakıyorum şimdi.
Ben Beşiktaş'ın kendi sayfasından bakacağım hemen ilk 11'lere.
Ben de şu anda
benim baktığım internet
hemen bakıyorum.
adresinde büyük ihtimalle bir yanlışlık oldu. Çünkü İsmat Mirin Beşiktaş'la ayrılalı bayağı uzun bir süre oldu. Evet yani yok. Yani
şu
orada
anda
bir
sayıyorum.
yanlışlık vardı büyük ihtimalle. Dinliyorum abi.
Evet. Kalede Ersin var. Caner Erkin, Rocco Vida, Gökhan Gönül, Elneny, Atiba, Boateng, Tyler Boyd, Lens, Burak Yılmaz. İlk 11'i bu şekilde
Peki.
Beşiktaş'ın.
O zaman baktığım
Hemen
internet sitesinde bir yanlışlık olduğunu söyleyerek özür diliyorum takipçilerimizden. Sen de abi söz.
Fenerbahçe'ye de baktığımızda ben tekrar sayayım. Kalede Altay var. Dirar, Serdar Aziz, Falet, Hasan Ali Kaldırım, Ozan Tufan, Tolga Deniz, Ferdi Kadıoğlu, Emre Belözoğlu ve Vedat Muriç. Gollü bir karşılaşma izleyebiliriz diye düşünüyorum.
Aynı fikirdeyim. Yani ben de yine çok fazla gol izleyecekmişiz gibi hissediyorum bu derbide. Yani zaten Beşiktaş-Fenerbahçe maçları genelde gollü maçları oluyor gerçekten de. Ben bugün de yine gol ve goller izleyeceğimizi düşünüyorum. Beşiktaş galibiyeti beklediğimizi söyleyelim Orkun abiyle beraber. Beklentimiz maç sonu 1 olması yönünde. Bu arada Manchester maçına yorumunuz nedir demiş Batuhan Aldemir. Bizim orada 2.5 alt beklentimiz var. Şu anda oran 1.40 tabii ama biz maç öncesinde verdiğimizde 1.52 yanlış hatırlamıyorsam o civardaydı 2.5 altın oranı. Bizim o maç için tercihimiz 2.5 gol altı olması yönünde. Chelsea geliyor bu arada. Reece James vurdu. De Gea müthiş çıkardı. Chelsea etkili geldi. Yani şu ana kadar da maç çok ortada bence. Böyle daha önde olan bir düşünmüyorum. Hem United hem de Chelsea kontrollü başladılar. Dakika daha 10. Biz orada 2.5 gol altı bekliyoruz. Bunu söyleyebilirim. Yorumlara şöyle bakayım. Süper Lig tercihlerimizi sormuş Mustafa Engizek. Aslında bahsettik ama birazdan tekrar bahsederiz. 7 maç içinde teker teker yine yorumlarımızı sizlere aktarırız. Molde maçı üst bekleniyor demiş maç önü kuponunda. Şu an karşılaşma 1-0 devam ediyor. Dakika 56. İlk yarı en çok korner Villarreal 2.70 orana düştü demiş. Gayet iyi demiş. Yakup Geçer. Bol şans diliyorum. Molde maçında 2.5 üst bekleyen çok fazla izleyicimiz var. Onlara da bol şans diliyorum. Spartak sürekli atak yapıyor demiş. Zenit Spartak Moskova maçında. Ben az önce o maç için yorumumu verdim. Ama farklı görüşte olanlara tabii ki de bol şans diliyorum yine de. Ben orada 3.5 gol altı bekliyorum. Zenit Spartak Moskova maçında kalan bölümde gol olmasını beklemiyorum o karşılaşmada. Zenit 3.5 üst gelecek demiş bir izleyicimiz. Şöyle bakıyorum atladığım bir yorum var mı? Madrid maçı üst alın 1.75'ten aldım ben demiş. Deneme isimli izleyicimiz. Ben tam tersi görüşteyim. O maçın çok gollü maç olmasını beklemiyorum. Herkese yine tabii ki kalan dakikalarda, kalan saatlerde bol şans diliyoruz. Biz saat 18 itibariyle yayına başlamıştık Orkun abiyle beraber. Yine birçok karşılaşmayı beraber başladık, beraber tamamladık. Birçoğunda da başarılı tahmin